Sam's backside attack.
Oh no!
Yeah, I thought maybe you were on the call with him. He's watching the game. He decided to go to his cousin's place and watch the big sports team.
What sports ball is which one?
It is the one where they throw the pig hide at the other team, and the old man is going to throw it.
So football. Yes. So that's the Super Bowl today.
Today is the Super Bowl.
Man, I kind of like not having any fucking idea that the Super Bowl was today.
Like, I kind of like realized when he called me yesterday, he's like, "Hey, the Super Bowl, I'm going to go watch the game." I'm like, "Oh, which one?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No, the Super Bowl." I'm like, "Oh, that's right."
I looked at some Instagram stories. I'm like, "Oh, is that yesterday or something?" And it's all people from today.
Man.
I'm like, when? Super Bowl? Like,
I do kind of like. I barely care, and this is not to like knock on sports. I like sports. There are some sports I watch a lot.
Too. I actually love football.
Yeah, like you used to watch quite a bit of football, right?
Yeah. Like I do love football. I just don't care. I don't know why I don't care now, but
yeah, the same thing. I mean, I had that same wave with baseball. I would watch tons of baseball, and all of a sudden, I'm like, no, baseball's terrible. No more baseball.
Yeah, you don't watch baseball anymore?
I haven't watched for about 2 years. For about a good solid 2 years, I just last year obviously was like all the COVID crap, so I barely watched anyway.
Oh.
And then the year 2019, I barely watched. I didn't watch it a whole lot. I think this year I'm actually excited to watch it again. So I'm starting to like get back into who the players, like who's back on the team, who have we got, who's good, who's decent.
What is it going to be? Has it changed a lot, or have they had to change it much because of everything?
No. Baseball's like no COVID.
Cardboard fans.
No, man, they don't even do the fans. They just play the sounds. It's just all the sounds.
The weird cheering noises?
Yeah. So you get hits and people are cheering, and the other team like plays well and people boo, and there's nobody there. There's no one there.
That is dystopian future if I've ever.
Oh my god, it's so creepy. It was weird at first, but then I realized how little I actually look at them, and then you do need to kind of hear them a little bit. They got to hear the fans. I never look at the fans. I don't care what they're doing over there.
No,
they're inconsequential to me. That's what they're inconsequential to me. They don't matter.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a fan. I guess I'm inconsequential.
Well, yeah, but just making it relevant to make it better for the players or something. It's like playing nature noises for an animal in the zoo.
Oh my god, that's a little too on the nail, man. That's like right on the head.
Hey, we try to make it seem as authentic as possible with accurate birds from the region that this animal grew in. Yes.
There is like some dumb shit we do as humans, though, right? Like white noise machines. Like right now, my big like idea of where we're like de-evolving is the white noise machine, the weighted blankets, like all the and the lights. Now they have like moving night lights to make you feel more like comfortable while you're sleeping. So when you wake up, you're not jarred.
Is it to replicate being in the womb, maybe, or something?
I think it is.
But hold on though. I thought the weighted blanket was like a heat thing. Like, cause I've considered that because I sweat like something's dying in the middle of the night. My whole upper body is covered in sweat. Like
you have like gunshot wound sleep sweat.
Yes, man. Like it's so wet that when you wipe, it doesn't wipe away. It just moves around. Like, and I'm freezing cold at that point.
I think you might need to go get checked.
I have. Like, you're just one of those people.
You're just one of those guys, man. You are.
A weighted blanket stops that from happening.
Maybe could be
because it regulates your temperature better, the weight of it or something. Your body is less inclined to create more heat on its own or something. I don't know.
Could be. I was under the impression. I mean, that could be it. I was always the guy who made fun of the weighted blanket because I thought they were doing it so it's like it mimics a hug, like wombish when you're sleeping. So like it's comforting.
Yeah.
I
never thought of it like that. I just remember when I looked it up, there was a temperature thing. It stops you from sweating really bad.
That could be one of the reasons people do it.
I hope so, because I am so sick of this. Like, it depends, though. It depends on I don't know what. It happens for a week, and then it doesn't happen for a couple days, and then,
Well, I hope you talking about it, like, raises the awareness of people who are listening. Like, you know what? I do this. I'm not a freak.
I'm being silent about my night sweats.
I'm not going to be silent about my night sweats.
I'm a hero, damn it.
You are a hero. You are talking about what kind of I can relate in a sense because yesterday, and I mean I can't relate at all. This is just like an anecdotal story that's similar to that. I was shoveling the snow yesterday and it was so cold. I came back in the house to put some I have this like oatmeal cream because other cream I'm a dinosaur, I'm an alligator. Real cream doesn't work on me. So I put the oatmeal cream on. My face was so cold that it wouldn't absorb my skin. It was gliding around my face.
They're just completely sealed off.
It was all sealed up. It was so gross though, because I'm like, why is this not working? I'm like, it's just moving
Why is
around.
my alligator skin not absorbing the alligator lotion?
Right, the gator lotion. The doctor at the veterinarian's office said the gator lotion's what I need, but the gator lotion ain't soaking.
Yeah, you get it from like a vet now.
You do. It's like
you can only order it from vets.
For sure. What was the other stuff? Udder butter?
Is that what it's called?
Well, there was something, right? Like bag bomb and udder butter. It's like a thing they put on cows' udders because like they chap too much, but they started selling it to farmers.
Yeah, it's for farm. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I heard of that. That actually sounds familiar.
Yeah, so farmers were using it because they're like, you know what? My hands are always great.
Yeah.
They're always good. So they started like marketing that to people like me, alligator people.
Yes.
The reptilians.
The race of alligator people.
The race of alligator reptilians. Oh, hey, speaking of race of lizard people, they gave that broad the boot. Gotta keep doing that. They gave that lady the boot from voting in the GOP there. That Marjorie Taylor Greene was like Jewish space lasers and alligator people. Yeah, she was a weirdo. There
was a woman that was like a conspiracy person.
Yeah, I can't remember where she is. It's like Texas or Tennessee or something. But she's like, or maybe it was Georgia. But she's like a GOP congresswoman, and she was all about like Sandy Hook was a hoax. They were all actors. 9/11 didn't happen. The wildfires in California are from Jewish space lasers. Like she was saying, Jewish satellites were deflecting the sun's rays to burn the ground in California.
Wow.
Yeah,
but
she was
the Jews own California. Why would they want to burn down their own California?
It's kind of like their home turf, California, New York.
I thought that's what it was. The Jews own Hollywood, like they say.
No,
right?
That's what Mel Gibson said.
Oh, hold on. There. Can you see when a text comes down? Okay, because I feel like it shows up on my screen or whatever.
Nope, I can't see anything.
Then I won't do anything about it.
All I can see is like when you go too far that way, I can see myself.
Oh, okay.
So when I edit you in, I gotta like find neat ways to cut me out.
Oh, well, you don't have to.
I generally don't. People just don't notice it. You've got so much going on behind you that's it's hard to see. Yeah, but that lady, they gave her the boot, so they voted against her being able to like make and change laws in Congress.
Damn.
Because
that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea. But then again,
now's also a good way to weed out the crazies because they feel like it's okay for them to speak up.
They're all vocal now.
Yeah. They never used to be because they were worried. Now they're like, no, everybody's talking. Let's just talk. And then it's like, we got another one. So that's good.
Well, okay. So this is my problem with all of that stuff. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to like mitigate her ability to change laws if she may have some mental illness. Who knows, right? But it doesn't set like a weird precedent that if you don't agree with the majority, then we can just kind of like shut you down.
But yeah, we can just shut you down.
That's
the plan, right?
But then again, you've got these people out there who might also have the weird conspiracy mind that she does. And don't they get representation? Like, I mean, the system's fucked.
Well, and then that's how you create those, like they say, that's how you create a suicide bomber is because you literally blew half of these guys had their town already blown up and their parents killed by an American bombing.
Yes.
So you're creating a suicide bomber already. So they're, by like telling them that woman can't be represented, they're thinking I'm being fought against now.
Yeah, this is against me.
Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like not
so that
only
could be a thing in those extremist cases, right? And again, that just shows like whatever happened to like, couldn't you just vote down all of her ideas? Like, why can't we do that?
Well, I think their fear is because like you need a certain majority amount of votes, or you need like I don't think it's even a majority. Like you have to have a majority plus.
Okay.
To like knock down. But then again, like really how dangerous was she? If you have like the majority of even the Republicans like, hey, look, she's kooky. Like Mitch McConnell called her a cancer to the system.
But see, these people, like, that's so extreme to, like, I don't even understand, like, what did she do? Did she pass a bunch of laws to make it illegal for black people to do stuff again? And
she was kind of the people who was involved. Well, so far from what I've read about her, she is part of the people who try to keep certain laws from passing that benefit the majority. Like she's anti-abortion, she's pro-life.
So she gets to veto this stuff?
Yeah, she can do that. That's part of what she can do. She can vote against it.
Oh, so she's got a lot of her own individual power.
She does have individual power. She is the kind of person who can vote against things. She's a vote against, like, basically, like, letting people who are disenfranchised have their voice. And it seems like she always votes against people who are disenfranchised. So she votes against minorities, like, in the majority.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like, what's her name? Who's that, Liz Cheney? Liz Cheney, who's like, I don't think gay people should get married, but at the same time, like, Trump's a psychopath. It's like, you're a...
She's a mix of everything.
It's wild, man.
Cheney always kept you guessing. The big Cheney.
Well, he shot a dude in the face.
Yeah, and they made him apologize for it.
Made him apologize for
It's
it.
like, I'm sorry who shot me in the face.
Yeah, what the Cheney thing's weird to me, man, because like her sister is gay, and Dick Cheney is like pro-gay rights, but then he also sided with her against gay marriage. I'm like, a whole conundrum. Like, it's all so weird.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he's probably just a lizard person, because then they just don't care, right? He can do whatever he wants.
Definitely a lizard person. His eyes go like this.
Yeah.
His eyes
We
blink
saw it.
sideways.
I saw it. Everyone did.
Well, I just know what Mel Gibson told me to think.
Yeah. Well, same.
The Jews run America. Oh, and you can't. And then lizard people.
Well, and those lasers, remember?
The space lasers. Jewish space lasers. Yeah. Oh, hey, how's your week?
Interesting, I guess. I don't know. It's ramping up now. Gyms are sort of open, right? Like we were discussing.
Tomorrow's the big day one. Oh, hey, we can post again. Our podcasts have now been cleared of any copyright infringement.
Oh.
We won.
Oh, what happened last time?
We had a guy say that we're using his music and we're not using his music. Oh, so this whole week for me was like back and forth with Google, and then they were super cool, man. YouTube was actually really chill about it. And then that guy had to prove that his music was his own copyrighted music, and he just dropped everything. So in a rare case of like the little guy getting something that works out for him, we won.
That's probably a case of one of those people trying to just get any kind of money. Like that's his main job, is to go around trying to ding guys like you.
Yeah.
And then they if 4 out of the 10 stick, then he still gets some money or whatever, however they want it to work, right?
He gets something, right? Yeah,
there's so many big YouTubers that were gone after for that, and they hired the right lawyers to fight it. And
yeah, exactly. I think like what you put me onto that whole thing first, and this is like nowhere near that level, but the H3 thing,
but I think it happens to small YouTubers a lot more. Right?
Yeah, I think it happens quite a bit. Copyright claim.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I have used like copyrighted music before. And obviously, like they tell, we're not big enough to be monetized, so I don't really do anything about that. But this was like clearly somebody using free loop that we use as well over music that I've written by my own hands on a keyboard.
Yeah.
And then saying that's their music. So I was like, no, that's our music. God damn it.
No, it's fair. Open source music or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's open. Well, it's like I think there's no licensing on it. Okay. So it's fair use by Apple, and then the rest of it was literally stuff that I plunked on with my shitty like brain on a
just add it
keyboard.
To it or
yeah,
just
so
even that, it's even less his music.
Yeah,
you can just counter him.
Man. So opening. We're opening up bars restaurants maybe tomorrow.
So for 3 weeks, and there's a lot of places that aren't opening. They're choosing to stay closed.
Yeah, which is good.
They're like good. It's cheaper. It's cheaper to stay open at a limited capacity is more expensive than to stay closed and serve takeout, right?
Yeah. So I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, if they're in, up to whoever. I'm glad the gyms are opening though, because there was some debate coming up and all this stuff. People not being very unhappy about it. So
yeah, well, it was going to be a strike protest opening tomorrow anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of scared them into like getting their shit together.
Yeah. Well, at least they did something, because they didn't do anything, right? It was nothing done.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Like
you had to force them into it. Like they had to scare them into like coming up with an idea. Yeah,
exactly. Like that's the weirdest part. They had to freak them out into coming up with an idea that was essentially the same thing that they're going to freak them into doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they're going to open anyway, so might as well just open up.
It's going to be against their constitutional right to be closed or something. Like someone was ready to argue that at least. Where it's like, you're not proving why, you're making up assumptions, and it's like, unfortunately they are, but they don't know what to do. It really shows. Yeah,
well, that's the problem when you have like normal people, right?
I don't care what they say the science is from or whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like one thing is fine, but one thing isn't. If this is really killing people, you die in both places. Like
yeah, exactly. You're either gonna get it. I know I was kind of having the conversation this week with somebody else who's kind of in that space, and he's saying, well, the idea, I think he's saying his own anecdote, his own idea was that they can contact trace better if you get sick in your home and you can go back. But I get that idea, like you can trace back to who was in your home. But at the same time, isn't it less transmission if you go somewhere that's always clean and makes you clean your hands and wear a mask?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many cases. If we had any cases at the gym, I wouldn't have known. Mm-hmm. And then the one thing too is I'm finding out people that I know are isolating are getting sick. Yeah,
that's a lot of that as well.
So it's like, and like some of them are a bit too vocal on social media, so they document the whole fucking thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, cool. Do you want a medal? Like, yeah, you got sick. I'm proud of you. Do you need to tell everyone about it? No, you don't. But they do. So it's helpful because it shows you that it's really not that bad for them, and they were hospitalized a couple times. And And it's like
it wasn't so bad as 2 hospitalizations.
No, but I mean, they literally weren't. If they were constantly on social media, they clearly weren't scared that they were going to die.
Yeah, they were looking for attention more than anything else.
Well, that too, but then clearly they're not going to die.
They're not that sick.
If you are fearing death, I'm sure. I don't know who has the ability. I applaud them to be like updating everyone social media wise when they might die. Like,
well, there was like early on, there were a couple of guys who were trying to explain that like this is how bad it is. I'm going to walk you through what I'm going to go through. Right? Yeah, as I'm dying, but they're letting you know like, look, I don't think I'm going to make it. They're not doing the whole like sad today, and then you ask what's up and like got COVID. Like, well,
I know, and then there's like memes and there's Instagram filters, and it's just like.
No, man.
Okay, so clearly you're making this seem like not that big of a deal because you're all crying that people have died from this. We have to take it seriously, but you clearly have COVID and you were isolating and following all the rules, and now you're treating it like you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
Because you get to document your time. Like you had a struggle. That you're going to be one of the people that tells the world you had COVID when COVID was there.
See, I don't trust them either then. Like, to me, like, Tim, I don't even think they have it. In a way, like they're talking about, like, I got the COVID. It's like, well, I don't trust you. Like, I don't believe you when you say
I mean, if you get the positive test, in some cases, whatever, right?
Like, yeah, well, okay, cool, that's fine.
And that's what I mean. I saw, like, clearly this person was in the hospital. It seemed like a concern, but it's like, for the amount of story updates that you've posted, you must just be getting over a really, really bad illness that you're fine with.
Yeah, and then they should kind of make that the point of their post. Like, look, man, I'm going to tell you why it didn't attack me the way it attacked the other guy who died.
Yeah,
and make that your
post, but they all bring up the same, oh, my lungs are on fire, this is the worst thing I've ever been through, and it's like, yeah, why are you on the fucking phone?
Yeah, shouldn't you be getting that rest?
Down, man. Like, I don't know, that's my thing. It's just
go lay down!
You got so much important shit to do. I'm not going to be on my fucking phone if I'm sick, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
I've been sick, I get sick, everyone gets sick.
Everybody gets a cold meal. But I think there's like a baby blanket, like a noise machine mentality too. These are the same people who get like the weighted blankets and the noise machines.
Well, that's what I'm
wondering. The fucking lights on the ceiling.
Or okay, so here's the thing though. You brought this up a while ago, which I always keep in mind now.
Oh my God.
Situations is that whole thing where if you can walk up to somebody and just put your finger in their mouth.
You ask them. You got to ask them. Open your mouth. And if they open their mouth.
No. I think you don't even have to ask. You were just like, if they're dumb enough to just go along with you because like they see what you're doing and just follow along.
They just follow with you.
Willingly let you put the finger in their mouth.
Yeah.
These are the people that those announcements are for that you hear about masks every day.
Absolutely.
Like, bing, bong, bong, wear a mask.
on the bus and shit.
That you can, on the bus. I heard on there every day now. Every bus has an automated voice to remind you to wear a mask.
Yeah. They've got it.
Yeah, so those are the people that you can put the finger in their mouth and they're not going to see any threat or concern to what you're doing.
No, they're totally fine with it.
They just want to know what's next. They're like, okay, now what?
I don't want to use the term sheeple or like the buzzword shit, but there is like a group of where I got that idea from was a Drew Carey show. When Wick walked up to Oswald and he's like, open your mouth. And Oswald's like, no, why? And he's like, I'll give you $5. And then he opened his mouth.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, so like if I ask somebody to open their mouth and they're like, okay, like I can sell that guy anything. I can get that guy to follow on to anything.
Yeah, like just a complete stranger, you can go up to them and before they even consider why, they're like, hey, can you open your mouth? Yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. I used to do that thing in, like I had a version of that, and I know like you were there for it, and like Luke and Mike were always kind of like in the know of that one thing where if I'm about to engage in somebody in the bar, and we're going to get into like a scrap, the first thing I'd always say is be like, hey, it's purple. And while they're thinking about, what does he mean? I would jump them. So like, because it makes their brain stop.
Half a second to be like...
Yeah. I'd always say aloud too, like, hey, it's purple. And they're like, what does he mean? And then you get them. Because they need a second, right? Like it takes a second. Or you ask them like what time it is.
I always wish I knew about that. I would have loved to try that. I don't know if I ever be able to. Like,
oh man, it works fairly well. I would say like at least 70% of the time.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, like 70% of the time. Like most of the time they'll be like, yo, go fuck yourself. And you're like, okay, maybe it didn't work then. Or it does work, but he's creating dialogue, so I didn't register it that way.
Oh, okay.
But like 70% of the time, their brain just stops working. I think there's a whole like layer of society that is like that, where they're just like, they're not quite on the uptake. Like they're not there.
Those are what NPCs are, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because it's like, the weird part about it is I'm like, how can someone be artificial? How am I, like, that just makes it seem like it's the Matrix scenario, or I'm in the Matrix, but it's like, that makes you seem like an individual, like you're special, but
yes.
But then someone explained it where the NPCs are just like regular people, but like less of a soul, like, or something is shut off.
I said that here one time with Raj, where I think a few people took me to be like a lot crueler than I am, but I just said that I don't think everybody has a traditional, like, quote unquote soul.
Yeah.
Like, I think some people are just like empty, and that's the NPC. It's that they're not evil. They're not like degenerates.
No. Yeah, they can't be taken over by the Matrix or manipulated, but they don't.
They don't contribute.
The norm is all they know. Like, to think outside, like, to the type of person that would be shocked to learn the government was corrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the type of person that wouldn't. Why would they, like, would not consider any alternative to what the norm is being said? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, when they listen to music, their head doesn't
evil.
bob.
They're just like very, very oblivious and ignorant. Like,
yeah, completely. And then there are people who are also like oblivious and content, who do have like the idea of a soul, but they're just like they're terrified at some things. Like, some things just freak them out, so they try to shelter themselves. Yeah. But there are people out there who I think just they don't have the idea of what we think, like what drives you, like the spark that drives you just isn't there. Yeah. Like the kind of person you would ask, like, what kind of music do you like? They're like, I don't really listen to music. Like, oh, well, I can't trust that guy.
It's weird to hear that, or like their taste, they really just don't have a taste if they do listen to music. I've always found that odd when I meet somebody that's just like, there's no inherent like reason to listen to anything for them. Yeah. It's weird to me, yeah.
When it's gotta be wild for you.
What do they like then?
Yeah.
Like, what you like musically reflects so much of the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You know? And if they don't like music, then what do they like?
What do you enjoy? Like, what brings you like pleasure on your off days?
Yeah, it's like, I like to look at crossover hybrid vehicles. Like, what?
What? But that's cool.
Crossovers.
I mean, that's cool too. He's got something, right? But then, like, in my mind, it's like the professional. They just go home, they sit in a chair, they turn off the lamp, and they just power down for 18 hours.
It depends. Sometimes it's like 2 hours, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. Oh,
but
God.
Sits there with his eyes open.
Wasn't it like that was a Rick and Morty, wasn't it? Like, wasn't it like Mr. Goldenfold? Doesn't he just like go home and sit down and he's like out? Like, he just goes home and he just sits there.
Oh, I wonder. I have to watch. It's been ages since I watched anything from that show, and I actually really enjoyed it. Like,
it's such a good show.
I know. It didn't get on my nerves the way I thought it would, because I don't think it was catering to any one specific group.
Yeah. No,
that's what always ruins it for me.
When they
if you can just be mean to all of them, it's just so much better.
Oh, for sure. It's like nobody's there to get offended. It's like the Russell Peters thing, right? Russell Peters is kind of
cliched now at this point. People are like,
he's
kind of like, how does he get away with it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, nowadays, it's like, technically at this point, he shouldn't be able to get away with it either.
They've already got him. He had like a little question mark. Well, he was on the list in parentheses and a question mark. But he wasn't on the list, like, cancel. It's like, Russell Peters? And now it's like, Russell Peters. Like, for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
but yeah, there's other things for that, I guess, but...
I don't, like, we kind of talked about it last time. It's one of those things where it's, I find it, like, super frustrating. Like, I don't really like censorship. I think people, they forget what context is.
Because this is the thing that bothers me, is it's bubble wrapping. It's like, man, people know. I'm sorry, and maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I know, those, like, if you look at guys like the KKK, they never got any more steam than they had before. If anything, they have less. So it's like, to think that is an issue. Like, you're worried people are going to get convinced. You're telling me that you think that the large majority of the population is easily convinced by those guys?
Yeah.
Come on.
You don't buy it.
You know, so in that sense, in all these other facets, it's like, how easily manipulative, how come, are you claiming to be malleable like that? That you're scared they're going to trick you into being a racist?
Yeah. No, I don't buy that at all.
Let's let them run wild, man. They've been running wild for how long now?
Well, I think, like, the problem with the Klan is, like, the population got bigger. Like, the majority of people don't care. Like, the vast majority of people are, like we said it last time, right? It's like, we as people who are not white, as people of color, of minorities, we don't think all white people are racist. We just say that all white supremacists are white. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but
but all KKK members are white supremacists.
White supremacists. The problem is, there's more people being made in those places where they're more likely to become white supremacists because, like, willful ignorance.
Is that what's going on? Is in those areas they're growing in populate, like, unity?
Yeah, well, there's definitely like solidification happening. Like they're becoming more like solidarity is definitely happening.
But so there you go. There's a perfect example. If you've got a lot of easily malleable people
Yes.
in a situation where they are looking for that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you can see why it's occurring, right?
Yeah, but it's also a minority group of people. It's not like all of Georgia is racist.
No, but it's also the problem with pre-existing class system stuff and everything, right? Like it's fucked up. But again, I just don't think that enough people are that dumb for these types of groups to like amass, I guess. Like the problem I see is the way Hitler got famous because that country was fucked over economically.
Yes.
And he took a socialist party and used a militaristic way to manufacture his idea through them.
Yes.
So he had the side of the people, and he had an organized militaristic style political party, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to get your money back. I'm going to fix your country. That's the guy that's going to get you your fascist crazy shit, right?
It is. You've got a small population who are already xenophobic towards a group that's coming in. And they're freaked out.
What I'm scared of is the U.S. right now is super fucked. And if some dude comes up and says, I'm going to be the hero and I'm going to bring everything back.
Yeah.
And he's crazy like that. That's what would turn everything.
If for the worst.
Stuff we already have.
Yeah. For sure. Like, I mean, that was like we talked about kind of vaguely is that when you look at like what happened at the Capitol, I think that's all of them. Like, I think the people who are at the Capitol, like when you look at the 365 million people in America. I think that group there, that's all of them.
Well, and there's so much debate about who was there, too, because apparently a lot of, like, left people went there to get footage of it. So they were inside the whole time, too. So technically they were participating, and these are people that are, like, leftist journals, like journos or whatever. That
dude who videotaped the majority of it. Like, it was, like, something on the scene. It's, like, BG on the scene or whatever it is.
Yeah, and he's like a provocateur, admittedly.
Well, I don't think he's like a left or right. I think he's like a centrist kind of a guy who just shows up all the time.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else then, because there's like a guy that claims to be like a leftist journo who's like a provocateur. Like
there's
he doesn't
definitely
try to like investigate stuff. He likes to be there and film footage of shit.
Oh, for sure.
Instigate almost.
That it might be the guy who I'm thinking of. It might be the guy who I'm thinking the video is. It could be him. But I know there's a few guys who are like centrists who just they're not necessarily affiliated. They might be hard left. But they went and they had the cameras and they're the ones who got the majority of the footage that looks like it's like well shot.
Oh, you know what's a funny concept too is how we all have to wear masks, but like there's not an increase in like masked liquor store robberies or convenience store robberies where this stuff happens.
My mom was just talking about that.
Right.
Yeah,
it's weird to me.
Yeah.
But then it's funny how the people who stormed the Capitol were anti-maskers, I guess, because none of them were wearing masks. But it's like, did they trick people into protesting without masks so they could document their faces?
Oh, you never know, right?
Like, is this some other psyop shit where they're like, no, we'll get everyone to be defiant, but the thing is, we'll be able to record their faces because they won't wear masks, because they'll think it's like a bad thing to wear a mask.
Oh, man. I would like to think that's what happened. But
I don't think with the country. They're just running all these CIA mental tests on the entire country right
it's now. All
like
stress tests.
20 or 30 of them in a row.
It's a bunch of CIA stress tests to see who they can.
Seriously, and it's like
who can we get?
Factions, and we'll create the civil war, and then what we're gonna do is make it seem like it's racial, and then we're gonna hit them with masks, and then.
This is why, like, I kind of feel like at the end of the day, the threat level isn't as high as people think it is because
for what?
For like a white supremacist takeover of America.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's like, okay, look, racism is
shit. It just doesn't seem logical. Like, to me, everyone in the country would be like, that doesn't seem like the right idea.
Yes.
To be super racist.
For sure. But at the same time, like, you've got the CIA and the NSA and the FBI and the military who are all going to be like, no, okay, we let it go on long enough.
Yeah.
We're going to shut it down. And they will, because that's what they do. Like, if they're going to shut it down, they would just shut it down because they can.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not.
That's all that's going to happen.
Yeah. This is just like 2D chess right now.
They'll be able to black bag the entire country. Like, they are so prepared to black bag and van the entire population. And they'll move the entire population in vans down to, like, Central America and dump them.
I love how there is not one person. Oh, yeah. Bring all the Venezuelans in.
Yeah, let them in like crazy. And then all the original Americans are now living in Central America.
Yeah. Freaked out.
No memory of what happened.
No, they have a vague memory, but it's, like, implanted.
Yeah.
It's definitely like they sat them down and told them, you are Carlos Sanchez.
Yeah, 330 million Americans.
Yeah. Just
over
all.
the course of like 36 hours, all moved to Central America in black bags.
Black bag the population. There is not one person on earth, I think, who doesn't know what you mean when you say black bag and van.
Yeah, yeah.
When you say black bag and van, everybody's like, oh,
Again, why is this something that we can casually all know is existing and not think that maybe there's some shady shit that goes on?
Oh, there's so much shady shit going on,
How
man.
naive can you be to actually ever think that any government hasn't done shady shit?
Oh, and shady shit embedded within institutions that deal with the government all the time.
Institutionalized shady shit.
Institutionalized shady shit. Like, if you just look at, like, okay, there are the two arguments, right? That when they say that, like, it's not so bad for black people, it's like they can lift them up by the bootstraps bullshit. It's like, well, look at gerrymandering and redlining and how that still goes on now, today, right? It's happening right now. There's Republicans who don't lose power because of gerrymandering works.
Yeah.
In their favor, right? But then at the same time, there's like organizations within like Republican parties and even the Democrats that are just generations of like underground secret skull and bone shit.
Yeah.
Like that happens
they like
too.
Their little clubs, right?
They like their little clubs,
that
man.
Shit.
All that shit happens. Like shady shit just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks that it's like there's no the people must get like arrogant or they like the idea that they have a secret, because if it's that important, why does it get let out, and
oh yeah.
But somebody's bragging about it somewhere.
100%.
And they're just like,
I
that's
think
why
like
you can't Fight Club, man.
You
talk about Fight Club.
You got you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If it's your first night, you gotta fight. I think that's like one of those weird things where the ego kind of like gets too high, and you have that too big to fail mentality. And then like a journalist is like, "Hey, I want to be a part of this." And like, no, you don't. But come down to 513 Westchester, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And before you know it, he's got a stack of notes, and he's just scribbling away at shit.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, I'm trying to think of how that worked. It gave me a good idea for a concept, but yeah, like they just become too, like you said, too big to fail, and so they're like, no one's going to believe you anyway, right? Yeah. But then it's like, how come it's common knowledge for everyone? How come like most of the world is like, secret Bushes are part of a club and blah blah blah? We just casually joke that these people are all part of secret societies.
It's all there, man.
Yeah, and it's no big deal.
Well, that's like I was watching that documentary about who killed the electric car. Yeah. Years ago, right? And when you look at the steps that were taken to block GM from mass producing, and then they're like, all right, you can mass produce them in like a smaller number, but you can't sell them. You can only lease them. And when the lease is up, how they went around and picked up all the cars, and then the dudes got them all on like a flatbed, and there's another guy trying to like follow the car that he had leased. And he's like, well, he picked it up. I'm just going to follow him. I'll follow. And there's like a weird operation they had where they were trying to like block him in traffic, and the truck took off and they smashed all the cars in like the middle of the desert.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's called Who Killed the Electric Car? Incredible documentary. But it's an in-your-face look at how like a fairly open secret society, being oil and gas, orchestrates how like a private company is going to manufacture a car, and then they say like, nah, shut it all down. You got
to look at it this way. It's not even just big oil, man. It's the auto industry.
Yep, for sure.
Like two of the biggest, sketchiest, most corrupt industries in the U.S. that founded the U.S. have been holding this thing back. Like, dude, Tesla had an electric car. Yep. Like the funny thing about that is he made a battery powered car that was wound up or something and charged.
We should mention we're talking about Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla.
He had an electric car.
1896, there's a photo of this car, and it's like, it literally isn't any worse or better than the car they had at the time. Yeah. Because those cars back then were fucked, right? Like the crank engine, combustion engine ones. Like,
oh, yeah, the old, like, Archie's Jalopy.
Yeah, so they were both probably on pace. Neither was better than the other at that point. But I bet you...
I'm fairly certain the electric car was first, and I think the electric car was, like, there was more of them. Yeah, I feel like if I'm wrong, because we haven't got anybody looking anything up, but I feel like the electric car was
that shitty old buggy style car, right? It's like you couldn't really say one was better than the other, but they were both being invented at the same time, more or less. And then, one is just pushed out of the way, even though it's probably the better option. But it's like they said, they can't make money on that. So, yeah, man, there's no way that when they finally could have done. Imagine if we had the electric car back then, how much better it would be now.
Oh, you know what?
Like,
I mean,
we'd be so much like 20, 30 years ahead.
Who's to say that we're not 20 or 30 years ahead, and we've got lithium mines digging all the crap up, and all that oil and gas infrastructure ends up being a lithium mine infrastructure. And all of a sudden, somebody's like, "Hey, we can get oil and gas, right? It's cheaper, it's faster to produce, it's clean. I mean, it's cleaner."
But then it's like no one wants to use nuclear power either, right?
Right?
Nuclear power is really good. like it's limitless from what I understand. Like,
One Fukushima.
yeah,
You know,
big deal.
one three-eyed fish.
Hey, they didn't plan on that thing being around more than 50 years for some reason.
It was an old power plant.
Yeah, but it's like they built it and they said the safety parameters were dated, and there's no way to update them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's
That's
speculation that they knew at some point this was going to happen,
well.
and they just
That's the problem too, right? You end up getting this thing that you've built that costs more to repair and replace than just deciding like we're just gonna run this till it dies, right, and hope it doesn't explode.
we'll
That's
just dump
cheaper.
it in the ocean.
We'll just dump it in the ocean, like Doctor Octopus's artificial sun.
Yeah,
Dump-
exactly.
Dump it right in the ocean. Oh,
That's fine.
Thousand.
We'll create Godzilla monsters.
Oh my god! Did you see the trailer for New Godzilla?
No, the Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah. Well, Kong. He has to beat Godzilla to become king.
Oh no!
Ah.
Does that mean Godzilla dies?
I think Godzilla's gonna lose because you need to have a King Kong, and right now they're just calling him Kong.
What if? But Godzilla's like God Lizard.
I know, man, but it's not the Shin Godzilla. It's just like that crappy American Godzilla.
Is it?
Yeah, well, it's Shin God. Have you seen Shin Godzilla?
Well, yeah, and then they made one that like came and killed all the shitty Godzillas. The original Japanese one. It was like Godzilla 2000 or something.
Oh yeah, no, so there was that one in 2000.
Yeah.
There's the American Godzilla that was
the
like the
shitty
Matthew Broderick one, the shitty one.
Yeah.
And then there was the one where it had the real Toho Godzilla, and he killed the American Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then he goes nuts. But then, like 5 years ago, they had Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
And Shin Godzilla was gross, man. It was like that thing was bleeding all the time, and it was always mutating.
Wasn't it gigantic?
It was huge. It was
Yeah,
massive.
the one where they followed around the military guys for some reason, right?
Yeah. It was a traditional Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Godzilla is just like a force of nature, and then all the military is trying to find a way to stop it. And by the end, they're like
trying to decide. Like, there's a scientist that thinks that it's the Earth, just that's an antibody for the Earth because it's like a way of protecting against humans or something.
Yeah, he goes. It's just a part. Like, imagine we're the virus, and that's like the white blood cells.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all we have to do is stop it and hope to God when it wakes up, it doesn't kill us all.
Yes.
And that's kind of how it ends.
And I like that.
Yeah,
That's
it was
what
great.
Godzilla is to me. Like, that's how powerful I think Godzilla is.
Exactly. I love that.
Or it's that, and it's also that footage of him sliding on his tail, but his feet are in the air, like along the ground.
Yeah.
He's like torpedo kicking, but his tail's on the ground, and he's just
Haters gonna hate.
yeah. Thank you.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, that exact one. Yeah.
I do love that one. I like that one quite a bit. No, but I think my favorite current Godzilla moment has got to be like it's a second mutation in Shin Godzilla when he comes out of the water.
Okay.
And his eyes aren't formed yet, and his body is still adapting, and it's just like gushing blood on the streets.
Oh, I don't remember that. I should watch it again.
Oh,
I did like it.
It's so good. He's so big in that one moment. Like he's crawling through two like 8-lane highways between two buildings, and it's just gushing blood. He's like
really?
Yeah. He's oozing all the like
he's just shedding
plasma and
his
shit.
water skin or something.
Yeah. It's
Imagine
so
he had
gross.
just a layer that was like because he never came out of the water.
Just a layer of like thin goo.
Yeah.
Like that Ted Cruz fish.
Like he's translucent almost because why would he ever have hardened skin? He's got no reason for it, you know.
The Ted Cruz fish thing.
The Ted Cruz fish thing?
You ever saw that? Like compare Ted Cruz to that fish?
No.
There's some sort of like slime fish. It's a little thing.
Oh wait, yes, yeah, the blob.
The blob fish.
When it's out of water, it looks like a blob of
That's
goo.
so gross.
Yeah, it looks like Ted Cruz's face.
Yeah. Nothing.
It does. I know. Okay, so so this is an interesting way to transition back to the government bullshit from the U.S.
Excellent.
So he wanted to talk to whatever AOC about what was it, the stimulus package or something, or no, the fraud. There was something they wanted to get. He offered to be like, I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat. Let's figure this out.
Okay.
So she replies to him with some bullshit like, well, since you tried to get me killed last week, how about you sit this one out? So
all right.
So you're a politician claiming that another politician attempted to have you assassinated on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be funny?
It was funny.
You took that whole situation and turned it into a joke. And then you're like, why don't you take the fact that this Republican is like, hey, Democrat, we should fix things together instead of totally cutting a line in the sand again?
I got to tell you,
insult.
When it comes to Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, I think it's the right way to go.
Yeah, but what are your options right now?
I think your options are to work with everybody else except for those two guys, because those two guys they're gross, man.
No, but no one wants to work with them, and she's not trying to work with other Republicans.
Yeah, well,
she's refusing the entire party. She's like, no one. I don't want to talk to any of them.
Well, she might be the wrong person to deal with too.
She wasn't even at the thing when it happened. She was in another office building.
Oh, she was there.
And no, apparently she wasn't. Apparently she was like four blocks down in another building, and she went and told everybody that she almost died.
I'm pretty sure that like that was all debunked. Like she's actually there, and she hid in office and changed clothes and got the hell out of there with somebody else.
Yeah, I heard that she pulled the Jussie Smollett on the whole thing and wasn't even in danger at all.
No, I'm fairly certain that's all been debunked. Like she was there.
Oh, no,
yeah, that's all been debunked. Maybe
I saw it 2 days ago. Was a number of guys now posting that she posted a live feed after telling her story, and it didn't make sense with what she'd said earlier or something. Yeah. And so I don't know.
No,
maybe that was 3 days old.
I'm fairly sure that's all been debunked. Like she was actually
the problem I have, man, regardless, why does she need to go on Instagram and recount her survival tale, which she wasn't in? Like, really, there was no one after her, man. There was no one in there hunting down senators and people.
Oh, dude, I think there was though, man. There's a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of stuff going on where people were in their offices with people banging on the doors. Like,
yeah, but it was all these just like random. Like, honestly, from what I heard, it was a lot of just random looting protester people. It wasn't people that were like hired to kill or in there to kill anyone.
But I don't know. Like, if you're in your office where like people aren't allowed to be anyway.
No, I know, and I get that, but like the whole situation is so weird, and like I'm not gonna lie, half of it seems staged to me.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it just seemed like, how was it allowed to happen? How come you couldn't, in years past, there's no way you would have gotten anywhere close in a normal day. Like, when they weren't scared for this shit, would have been the perfect time for somebody to run up and try to blow up the building. Any years prior?
Well, that's like, look at the Tim McVeigh shit, right? It
seems most volatile, and you can just go in and do it.
Well, that's the argument they're having right now. They're saying that how is it so easy for them to get past the what's it called, Capitol Police?
Yeah.
And get past certain people. And there is video of certain Capitol Police kind of casually talking to them and then just turning around and let them walk in.
Yeah, there's a lot of footage of people who apparently like organized stuff too, but there was like, it was in a weird way. Like, this person actually worked in the building, so they knew their way around.
Yeah.
So they were directing groups of like 6 to 10 people with their cell phones out, going room to room and just like knocking a desk over, messing stuff up, and then moving on to another.
There's also a lot of that. There's a lot of
there's so much footage of this on the internet now that it's like, it all seems fake to me. All of it. Good footage, bad footage, whatever.
I don't necessarily think it's fake, but I definitely think there's a lot more going on that's going to probably come out. Like, right now, it seems like a conspiracy theory to be like the whole thing was fake and it was staged and whatever. But I think once more stuff comes out about this over the next few years, you're going to see people who were definitely coordinating through their direct messages and getting people into the building and ways to get in the building, right?
Exactly. And it's just the after effects too. It's just over dramatizing like a lot of people. And again, it's like, if you're a politician, you shouldn't be like an actor. That's my problem. Politicians seem more like actors than ever before because
it's always been Hollywood
presence because of whatever happens to them. And
dude, Hollywood for ugly people.
Yeah.
They've always said it's a popularity contest for ugly people. It's like, it's a way to, you're not talented enough to be in Hollywood or do something really creative in the private sector and make a ton of money. So you go into the public sector and then you find ways to manipulate levels of corruption
to get power and celebrity. And it's like, you're a political servant, man. You shouldn't have that kind of celebrity status, or like they're treated more like Hollywood celebrities than ever before. I thought.
For sure. I mean, definitely with like the boost of social media they've gotten, like now that you can be basically an influencer. Like that joke about how like the Instagram's or Twitter's biggest social media influencer got kicked out of the White House.
Yeah.
It's like, right? I mean,
I know. And banned off Twitter.
Yeah. That guy's a social media influencer.
It's like, what do you like? They're so clever because they're like, yeah, but look what he did. He instigated all this shit. I'm like, man, I think there's so much more at play. That guy didn't have that kind of clout over people. I think a lot of people just enjoyed the fact that they had an opportunity to do that. And that's the reason. And he's the one to blame for all of it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's an excuse.
Other people a crazy idea, just for the hell of it. Like like the group that hit the Capitol, man. Like the dude in the very front wearing
the bullhead,
no shirt and face paint,
the Grand Poobah.
Yeah, like that's why I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, what the hell? And it's televised. It was televised nationally for a while. Like,
oh man, it was all day. I woke up and saw around 11 o'clock shit was gonna go down on like my news feed. And I came upstairs, I turned the TV on, and by noon it was already in full swing and it was on all day.
Well, and again, if it was dangerous, how come there wasn't just open gunfire and bloodlust and like this like, what do you mean? It didn't seem like a bunch of weirdos that just did something stupid. Like it was like a flash mob.
It was definitely flash mobby. It's like there were people there who really like couldn't be trusted to be there, and they killed a cop.
Oh,
yeah. They killed a cop, and they beat another cop with a flag, and they tried to crush a cop in a door. Like, did you see all that?
Yeah, like there was that, and then there was apparently the cops shot some woman, and I don't like.
Well, they were storming him. They came at him pretty hard through a window, and he's got like, all of a sudden, like, he's not prepared for it. He's probably one of the guys who was just standing there, and then all these guys are swarming through a window. He told them to stay away, and they told him to go fuck himself, and they crawled through and rammed at him, and he just opened fire.
Yeah, and well, there you go, and like that must have been happening at all the entrances,
for sure.
Right? Like at random events, intensities, and maybe a lot of people seem to think that a cop isn't going to draw a gun on somebody. Like maybe they think that people are pretty dumb, and like,
dude,
it's my human right to stand up against you. Like,
yeah, it's really not, man.
It's really fucking not, because he's a human too. He doesn't get dehumanized when he's a cop. Like,
no.
I don't understand why people think that. Like,
and he's a normal guy who's gonna get scared. You know, and he's got a gun.
Yeah.
So you've got.
So it just seems so odd, and I'm like, it just seems add more to the fire, man. The whole thing is so crazy to me.
Man, just as like
I just don't like that it's affecting us so directly. Like, it definitely affects us directly. Like,
oh, for sure,
man. Like, there's supposed to be. I think there was an anti-mask protest in town today.
Oh, get out of town! Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think there was, or I was told that's what it was. I don't know what it really was, but the problem I have is maybe these people are anti-lockdown because they don't like that our economy's being ruined, and there needs to be more discussion. Because I'm okay with that. You know, that doesn't sound crazy, but when you say that those people are anti-maskers instead of what they're really trying to say, because you just lump it in as they're anti-lockdown means anti-mask. Like, well, not really.
No, it's two different things.
What's that?
It's two very different things. Like anti-mask and anti-lockdown are two different things.
There was one or the other occurring today.
Yeah.
And there was a counter-protest group from for some reason, counter-protesting that is the job of the LGBTQ community or something.
I guess.
No, like this is what I'm understanding is they were there was a group of them to counter-protest the anti-mask protesters.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, so you're telling me the government got you two sides to trick each other into fighting each other instead of fighting the government?
Oh, man.
Like, you've got protest groups that are fighting each other, and the government's on the sidelines just
watching it go down.
Slowly.
Here's my hot take. This is my not a hot take. This is my take on that. I think the problem comes to where you've got people who are genuinely anti-lockdown who don't want the economy to crumble, which it will do. It will. I mean, it's already looking bad for people. People are losing their houses. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they want to go out there and protest the lockdown. But then you've got these people out there who are probably like way further down the line and are legitimately anti-maskers. But nobody makes that. Nobody like differentiates that. Nobody tries to explain to you like, look, man, those guys, they're way out there. Like we don't associate with them.
They can also the problem is, you know what? They're probably all going to go meet up at the same place anyway.
For sure.
But
that's
the
fine
problem with that is it's like no one's talking. It's literally like it's not like these guys. The weird part is, like I said, is you've got two parties that should be anti-government.
Yeah. Fighting
each other while the government gets to ignore being yelled at.
They should be pro-discussion and less anti-government.
And discussion at the government, not let's fight each other because you know what? If they're anti-maskers, then they're probably racist and they're probably transphobic. And it's like, no, man, you're being tricked into avoiding a real problem, which is the fucking government. Like, why don't people get that?
You hit it right on there. It's the thing is, like, you've got Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ groups who are going to fight against the anti-maskers. And almost there's a bunch of them who are just saying that because you're anti-lockdown, because you're anti-mask, you're obviously a racist, and that's not true. That's completely a lie. So I mean,
and then again, it's unfortunate because I don't really know what's going on, but there was like vehicles driving around today, and a bunch of them had flags made out of what looked like just cheap sheets.
Yeah,
but they were like all solid colors. Like sometimes there'd be a green flag that was in the shape of a square, and then there'd be an orange one, and then there'd be a black one.
Oh, so all the
random vehicles, and they were ripping up and down White Ave, honking their horns.
Well, that's weird.
So I don't know what that was, but I'm like, is that a thing? Is that anti-mask? Is that anti-whatever?
Well, I would imagine if it's a lot of colors with black in there, it's probably like LGBTQ BLM, right?
Because those colors don't represent anything to me. I don't know.
It's so bizarre, man.
Poorly made flags, and then so the messed up part is, I have a friend that's obviously on the left side of things, right?
Yeah.
And like, I don't care, right?
That's fine.
I consider myself fairly neutral. I think rational. I get frustrated at times, but I get rational. You know, I feel rational anyway. But.
Well, I mean, I think just to clarify, I do think that you are somewhere like where I am. Like I've always said, I'm in the middle. I like to think to myself that I'm more conservative minded, but if the wind blows hard, I'll fall left.
Yeah, you know, same. Like, I mean, what does the one guy say? He's like fiscally conservative and
No, it's
socially liberal and economically conservative.
Yeah, it's a fiscal conservative social liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally what people as they get older turn into.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
They get tired and they get rational. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so I got asked by this guy because they were going to, this is what I think it was, is today, is they were going to go to an anti-mask protest to counter-protest the anti-maskers.
Okay.
And they wanted a more, this is funny, it shouldn't be funny, but they wanted a better white cis male representation on their side.
Oh, wow. Yeah. All right, then. They need to prop up
and I'm like, that's great that you want that.
Yeah. I'm not your guy.
And I'm not laughing because it's dumb. I'm laughing because I'm just like, so now you need us around for security.
And you know what? That could be it. Dan's a bigger kid. I mean, like, shit's going to go down.
I right away, I'm worried that anything I say is going to piss him off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, right? I don't know the volatility of the situation for them. And he's like, you know, it'd just be really good to have someone like you with your insight and your background. And you know, I think we both have a lot of similar rational ways of thinking, which we do, which really surprises me about this kind of stuff. But I know he's an activist type person.
Yeah.
But he was like, they want that because of their worry about the blowback of if there's white supremacists at the anti-mask thing.
Yeah.
Right? So there's literally just someone openly admitted to lumping them into the same group right there, right?
For sure.
And so I'm like, I said, honestly, man, I appreciate that you're asking me. I'm glad you think of me in that way. In these current times, I'm choosing to stay fairly neutral.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I appreciate the offer to help, and I wish I could. But so I declined. He didn't reply back, but that's fine. But I'm like, I hope that doesn't mean anything, and I'm not going to get, you know, canceled or something. But
well, look, I don't think it applies. I don't think this next thing I'm going to say applies to you. I don't think it applies to you in that sense. There are people out there who choose not to take part in these kind of situations because they benefit from the majority, for being part of the majority. Like when when a white guy says like, I'm not into politics, I don't really do that kind of thing. Well, it's because the politics of the time benefit you, so you don't get involved.
I'm not into them because they make me so mad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think that applies to you. So I think when you tell a guy like that it's not my cup of tea. I'm a neutral guy. I don't really go into that. That's what he's gonna ramp up into his head. The same way.
Well, I'm worried that that's what it's gonna be. But then I was like, I didn't know how else to explain it. And then later on, I thought, for me to be security at an event like that, it's because I'm a neutral barrier.
Yeah.
For both sides, that would be what security should be. Whereas if I'm on your side doing security for you, then you have the right to do stuff with the thought of your security is there to back you up in case you do something and protect you from them. Where, again, why people are misguided when the police are there. Yeah. Police are there to create a neutral barrier between the two groups.
That's what the cops are for.
Well, and people don't seem to understand that that's what cops are. They're a neutral barrier at these events, not not against you or them. It's the most volatile side gets the most attention from the police.
Yes.
Well, but no one ever sees it like that. They're
ideally,
like, they beat the shit out of us. Like, you created a situation where you were the focus of the police.
Yeah, ideally, that's what it is.
I'm sure it's not always like that, right?
No, well, but here's the thing. Like, what you're talking about is in a generalization, and you're right. As a generalization, that's what happens. If one side is more volatile than the other, then that side will get more attention and get told to calm down. Now, that doesn't... usually, generally in Canada, it does work that way, where, the one side being noisiest is the side that gets told to shut up. Yeah. Now, I know there are parts of the U.S. where it does not work like that. Like, I mean, clearly, like, that was the argument you were making earlier with like you were saying about the Capitol being so easily overtaken. It's like, if that was Black Lives Matter doing it like it was over the summer, the response was so much ramped up compared to what the response coming in was from the protesters that it became a gong show right away. Yeah. Whereas like the the protesters of the Capitol were handled very calmly. So whatever they did the response wasn't bring out the tear gas and bring out the bullets. So there was no violence and death because the response wasn't shoot them all in the face, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what happens. But here in Canada, generally, you're right, that when we do have the situation where there's like a noisy group of people making trouble, they get told to calm down.
And then they get, unfortunately, it seems like a lot of victimhood from it, right? Which is like, well, no, man, like, I hate to say this, but anytime you've complied with a police officer, I bet you it went very well.
That's true,
maybe
man.
not always, but what do you, like, that's the thing, I thought I did comply. No one ever really knows, it seems, what they did. And, like, I wish you could capture the memory and show it to them, and myself included, because I would love to see how wrong I really was, or something like that.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It'd be so magical to be like, actually, wow, I can't believe I acted like that. You know, it would be
you're right.
A learning experience, perhaps.
Totally, man. No, absolutely. We had again, another example. We had a kid one time in a bar I worked at. Reds. It's gone. Everybody knows we worked at Reds. We had a bowling alley upstairs. He was still there. All those lanes. But on Mondays, you paid $7 to bowl all you wanted. And on Tuesdays, it was $2 a game. So we had this one couple come in, and they're playing for their $7 game on Monday or their $2 game on Tuesday, whatever it was. So their bill is like $20 for like 100 games. They're just playing tons of games. So like it's a really low bill because, you know, both days are cheap. They came in on like a Thursday and they bowled and they didn't realize it's like $20 a game. So they're just like getting drunk and bowling and bowling, bowling. They come up to the counter and all of a sudden it's like a $300 bill. And the counter lady, she's like, hey, just so you know, it's $300. Pay up. The kid loses his shit. Like, he doesn't want to pay that money because he's like, no, this is a scam. It's total crap. She's like, well, it's written everywhere that Monday and Tuesday is cheap. This day is not. Yeah. So the whole time he's there, I'm the one talking to him on security, and then the counter lady's talking to him as like the employee of the company. He's getting angrier and angrier and angrier. So finally, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call the cops. I don't have the time to deal with you. I don't want to get into a confrontation with you. It's a Thursday. I'm going to go home early.
Yeah.
Cops roll up. The kid has got his ID in his hand. And the cop is like, let me see your ID. And he pulls his wallet out. And like all he had to do was just maybe pay his bill, come back tomorrow, make a phone call, and probably get comped his bill out because he didn't know. But instead, as he reaches out to hand the cop his wallet, it's almost like hypnosis, right? The cop is like, give me your ID. He reaches out, realizes that he's about to like have to pay a bill. As the cop is holding his wallet, he smacks the cop's hand away. And then just catches a beating. And it's a white kid. It's not like it was because he was like a black or brown or whatever.
Cops beat the shit out of regular ass dudes my age at the bar, man.
Regular ass dude.
The lippiest ones, the ones that get beat the most are the lippiest, and those are the guys that are like my age and white.
Well, we've seen it for 20 years, right? I mean, we've seen it for a long time. But what I was getting at is like, if you just comply and you walk away, generally you can lodge a complaint afterwards and get what you want. Now, the problem is the amount of times that you're not doing jack shit. And you get held onto or looked down on or talked to, or, you know, you get the finger wagged at you. You're like, I wasn't doing a thing. And that usually happens when you're not white, right? So that becomes like the disparagement.
Yeah, and what sucks is, when you aren't actually doing anything, and then you're like, I wasn't doing anything. But the problem is, you gotta believe that about yourself and also be compliant.
Yep. Because
then it will end faster, and then you can, after that fact, if you can probably file a complaint for the way you were handled, especially if you comply to the point with officers like you were, thank you, and da-da-da, remember what happened, and you can file a complaint, and more will probably get done from that than getting your arm ripped off out of socket and yelling and screaming and being a psycho on the phone and making a cop go crazy, you know, like...
Man, it's a sad reality that's a true statement. It's like if you comply,
if you can stay rational and calm, right? Yeah. Like if you can do that, it's scary and people get scared. But it's like, man, like I don't know. The situations we've been in, I've never had a freak out, but you get adrenaline and you get scared, but you don't just lose control of your thoughts and your voice, and you know, like some people do. Like the literal fear of death comes into them or something. Like they're scared they're going to die, and you're like, what kind of fucking person is this?
I think that's that lower evolution on the scale. It's like they're more...
That's what I feel like it is too.
They're more animal.
I get somebody like that when I used to work, when they're like terrified of something, I'm like, give me a fucking break, man. You're in Canada. You're not going to get beat to death by a bouncer.
No,
I'm going to go to jail. No,
you're not. Yeah, you're going to go to jail. if you did that, you're gonna go to jail. Like as the bouncer, you're gonna go to jail. But you're right. There is a type of person out there who thinks that it's the most dangerous situation they've ever been in their life. They've never faced any real fear or real danger.
Like, thank God you never faced a wild animal before, or even a dog with the growl. Because holy.
Oh, dude, no, you're spot on. There are people out there who I kind of feel like that the medulla, whatever the animal, the lizard brain part of them is, the little part that is like, you know what, fight, flight, fear, run, freak the fuck out. That happens. Yeah, for sure.
It's a hardcore flight situation. It's not like, oh, you're not strong enough to stand your ground. It's just like be present, and then like you can be in control of the situation, at least from your end, right? Because if they're wrestling with you and if they have control of you, well, then that's beyond your control. You're gonna have to try to like, you know, calm down. Like anytime we've had that where a guy would just calm down and you'd settle it with him, it was so much easier.
Almost always.
Check your ego at the door. You know, this isn't a win-loss thing. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. They have that idea in their head, right? That if I don't win this fight, remember that kid who popped me in the face at the Urban Lounge? One dude, he walked up and he smoked me right in the face. He wanted his hat. He got kicked out. I wasn't even involved, man.
Yeah, he came back in like, I
went upstairs. I got his hat. I came back down. I'm sticking the hat out, and he says like, give it to me. So I'm like, it's here. Just walk over and take it. He's like, no, you come here and give it to me. So I toss it at him. I hit him in the chest and fell down. He runs up and he pops me in the mouth. And he had his hands in the air, like immediately, like, I won. Like, what are you, out of your mind? And we jumped him. We grabbed him. We arrested him. But it's like, that's their mentality. Like, they have this, like, this weird, like, I won. Like, you didn't win shit. Like, now you're going to get arrested, man. All you had to do was take your hat and walk away. That was it.
Yeah, and you're just the guy. Like, so I had a guy, one of the few bullshit times at the last place I worked where I had to actually deal with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We kicked the guy out because he's a total dirtball, drunk, whatever, grabbing girls, lying about it, whatever. We throw him out. He walks by and he grabs the railing on this patio and just rips it down.
Oh, great.
And we only saw it on camera. We didn't see it happen. We didn't see where he went. He gets kicked out of the other bar down the street, comes back, and we're outside. And the manager's like, hey, isn't that the guy that ripped the thing down? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, should we get him? I'm like, well, you're 5 feet fucking tall, so I guess I'm going to get him. So
you're a little person.
Me and the other guy go and tackle him, bring him inside. And this guy basically doesn't want to get fucked over by court shit, so he offers to just give us a bunch of money to pay for the renos.
Okay.
So he literally just paid on his card.
Well, that's all right.
Day. But then he came back like a few months later and tried to say that like he got hurt, and I was like, well, what was it? He's like, oh, my ribs are all bruised up for some reason. And I was like, maybe you pulled something ripping the fence down outside when you were here last. That could have been it.
You're not a chimp.
Yeah, and it's like these people think that like, dude, you have a regular job, and when you get, look what you did. You almost got totally fucked over from your actions. So you fought your way out of it.
Yeah.
But he was like bitter, and he's like trying to claim that we like did something to get the money out of him. It's like, well, no, man, you begged us. Like
that's what it is, right? I mean, like this whole idea, and it kind of like goes back to what we've been talking about the whole time. There's no like, forget cancel culture. It's consequences. There's no more like respect for consequences anymore. Like if you're gonna do something, you have to face consequences. Yeah, that's all there is. We had a dude one night again back at the me and Luke like years ago. A guy is coming down the stairs. I think I can't remember who it was gave him the boot, but he walked out on his own. But now he's got to prove to us that he's a tough guy. So he just like speed bags a parking meter like as hard as he can. And probably like
it's those dudes that like the aggression, they couldn't get it out, so they take it out on something else.
It was weird, man.
That. It's the best.
That was like probably one of the weirdest ones I've ever seen, where like somebody gets mad and hits a wall. You're like, I get it. But he was like, bigga bing, and he friggin' like speed bags this thing. And then he walks around with his arms in the air to show us how tough he is into traffic and gets winged by a bus.
Oh,
it gave him a 180. So we had to arrest that kid. And we were lucky enough we had two cops coming down the street who we knew. But we had to hang on to him just for like his own well-being. But again, it's like there are consequences. If you do that, you're going to shatter both your hands and lose an arm. That's what's going to happen.
Like that you end up having to protect from themselves after you've just thrown them out of the bar.
But that's like everybody now. It's like everybody assumes that they can just either complain about something or get protected by the government or like get protected by somebody else.
Or like it's my job to do X, Y, and Z and make sure you don't die. And it's like, no, man, it's not really though. Like, no. I'm not going to, I have to put myself. It also says that I'm not supposed to put myself at risk to save your life either.
Exactly.
You know, it goes both ways. Like, if I refuse to help someone who's hurt, it's one thing.
Yep.
If it's like helping you could kill me, then I'm not supposed to help you.
Look, if he runs into traffic, you're not going to run into traffic after him and push him out of the way of a car. Like, that's.
But people think that you're supposed to, you know, and I don't know. That industry, it's just, that's how it is. Like, man, I thought about that a lot. Like, the one thing I thought about, which was crazy, is when you have to deal with somebody, you ever think about it in a sense where it's like there's no losing, there's only winning and not winning?
Oh, you mean when you're dealing with somebody who's aggressive?
When it starts as an argument.
Yeah.
So that job basically tells you that you have to win every argument every time, right? You
mean for the bouncer or the people who come in?
For the bouncer.
Yeah, in a sense, there is that idea.
I mean, you do. Like, and then in your brain, it's almost like at that point, you go through the rest of your life, you always have to win arguments because you're just autopilot argument, right?
Yeah, it's like lawyers and shit. Yeah.
What's that?
It's like lawyers and shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
But then it's either winning and not winning. And the thing is winning the argument, and not winning the argument is having to go to the next stage of what happens after you don't win the argument, right?
Yeah, escalation. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah,
right. So that's the worst part. But it's not actually called losing because you didn't lose. You just didn't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it's so frustrating that that's the kind of shit that you'd have to do.
I absolutely get it.
On such a frequent basis. And then because losing, the problem with losing is that's the worst part that could happen, right? Like,
yeah. Losing means that you're going to get beat up.
You lose out real bad, like physically lost out.
You're going to get beat up.
It escalates with them beating the shit out of you, right? Like, but you never, that's not allowed.
I like escalate's not beating the shit out of you.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Because like if you lose, it literally means that person he didn't just like get one over on you. It's like he got one over on you, and you're probably going to the hospital.
Yeah, because if the whole reason is what they want, you can't give them anymore. Then there's nothing they can do past that point. So they want to get something, I guess. Like, right? Like, I always thought of it like that. Like, what if a guy did beat you up and then go back into the bar? Well, that would last another 5 minutes, and then he would get the shit beat out of him by 6 other bouncers once they realized he was back in the bar for beating up a bouncer.
It's like they don't see that though. In their mind, they, like I said, the kid, right? He hit me in the face and put his hands in the air like he won a fight.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
Like I just don't get it. And that's why I was like, to me, it's winning and not winning, which is like fuck.
That's actually a pretty clever way to think about it. Like that's a logical way to think about it. That you're right, because like to lose would mean that you are like you're not getting up.
Well, yeah, or for whatever reason that just transitions into really bad or dangerous. So with losing is like not even up for debate. Like you can win and lose situations in life all the time. It's perfectly fine. Yeah,
for sure.
But this is a difference between winning and not winning. Is like, okay, well, I'm not going to win this. I need to make sure I don't lose. So you call more guys in.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot too, because like when you think about the idea of like the loss and the escalation that goes on. And what they think it is very different to what we think it is.
Yeah.
Like to them, they're like, well, you know, you're right. Like they're not thinking of it logically. And sometimes it's sober people or drunk people, whatever it is. But to them, they're like, I'm going to win this fight with this bouncer.
Yeah.
But like, do you realize like for you to win would mean that we're going to throw down very hard.
You're going to hurt me more or before I can hurt you.
Yeah.
And then you get to run away.
Yeah,
with another human being physically assaulted because you're acting impulsively.
Yeah. And not to mention, this is my full-time gig.
And then and it just so happens this is the only job I have right now.
Yeah,
you know, for a very long time.
So
and that's why the weeknights for me were like, I have to be very crafty because I'm not. I mean, I know what I know, but I can only go so far with that, and all it needs to be is the wrong time, the wrong person, the wrong punch.
Oh, for sure.
So there's a way higher risk. Like, who the fuck in that place was going to defend me on a Tuesday night, you know?
Oh, dude.
A 50-year-old bartender with an alcohol problem? No.
Oh, forget about it. I'm
going to get my face smashed in if I don't talk to the right guy, you know? Like,
it got to the point where, for me, it started fairly early, but I remember, like, when I was really early in the game, we're talking, like, 98, like, just out of high school kind of stuff, 97.
Yeah.
I would be working in bars alone with one other guy who was, like, you know, a hot shot who'd been there for, like, 6 months and thought he'd been bouncing for, like, 20 years. And like a bartender, and then some kid would pull a knife. Or I was in a bar where a gun got pulled, and it just by luck, I happened to, like, it didn't get pulled out of his pants, but I saw him going for, I thought it was a knife. And I was able to get my hands on, be like, oh no, that's a gun. That's a gun. And I'm the only one dropping bombs on this kid, like headbutts to his face, collarbone, all sorts of shit.
Frantically trying to drop him, you know?
Yeah, like, to drop this kid. And like nobody
I don't know
else.
what I would do if I was in this. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and nobody else knows what to do. And I mean, like the hindsight on that moment, I keep thinking about that night over and over again because how badly it could have gone. And it was just like pure luck. That's it.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, what's the consequence for him and what's it for me? For me, I end up dead because I lost a fight. Because he was able to pull something out of his pants before I got my hands on him. Or just thought to think, like, keep your eye on that kid. That kid looks crafty. What's going on over there? But it's like, in his mind, he's like, what, you're going to open fire and run away? And then what?
Yeah.
Like what are you thinking, man?
Someone who's, like, their next level of escalation is pulling a firearm?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
It's wild. Like, what goes through their head? But that became, for me, right away. And I'm lucky that happened so early in my career. Like, if we're talking, I was, like, 18 years old. Yeah. And for me to have that happen, it was one of those things where I would rather drop bombs on him and he pulls like a piece of paper out of his pocket and I don't end up dead rather than him pulling a gun and I'm like, let's see if it's paper. Let's see if it's a notepad and he's taking notes.
Yeah, let me hesitate for an extra second just to confirm that he's holding a firearm or something. And like, I mean, it's good you have the reaction time, right? Like, no one can say what they would do, right?
Exactly. That's just it. Like it's different for everybody. I got extremely lucky in that moment, right? So I mean, yeah. For them, they don't think of the consequence. Like the consequence is somebody's dead and you're on the run for the rest of your life, or you're always thinking about it, or you become a worse human being as your life goes on. Oh
yeah, no kidding. Well, and even like I said, just with regular people that get into fistfights at bars because they think it's the thing to do, and And it's just like, man, like you have no idea what you're thinking about, like how casually you're throwing away your life potentially. And I don't mean dying. I just mean like just shifting your entire livelihood around. What if you're crippled, or what if you lost an eye, or fuck. Oh, for sure. For sure, man. I mean, like how many times have we seen a guy take a fall way too hard or hit the head in the corner of a table? And we had one where we were working in a casino. This is like years and years ago. And we got these three guys came in. It was two brothers and a friend. And they were all chummy with us the whole night. And they were all like they seemed like really happy-go-lucky, like rural kids. They're a little bit older, but they seemed really cool. They walk out, and as they're outside, our surveillance team calls up and says there's a fight in the parking lot. We run out, and the one brother has turned on the other brother, and he's just like the wet punches to the face. Oh. The kid was down. I was able to get the puncher and put a pretty deep choke into him. But I was looking down the entire time I'm choking that kid out. I'm like, oh, that's a body. Like, he killed his brother. Oh, like he's already been beating him for a minute or something. Yeah, he's been on for a while. Because of the way that kid's face looked, and you think, like, he's so drunk he doesn't know. He's just not pulling a punch at all. Just full haymakers to this kid's face. Like, I think it killed your brother, man. Like, I think he's dead. It could have. He could have done. Luckily for them, he wasn't dead. I'm sure he had a pretty nasty concussion. But still, all you need to do is be drunk enough to not pull a punch, and you are strong enough to kill somebody. Yeah. Yeah, it's so gross that nobody seems to realize that. Oh man, when you see the bad ones connect and like, and you hear it, or oh god, and because I know I was always involved in scraps as a kid, but I was always a guy breaking it up and like saving my friends, and I was lucky enough to never get sucker punched that way, right? Oh man, so lucky. But then like holy shit, some of the nights. Some of the nights are crazy when you think back. How it's like just a packed bar, and you'd have to fight somebody and just go back to what you were doing like 20 minutes later. Man, like I mean, not to like rag on anybody or name names, but and people probably already know who listen to us. But we've had friends of ours who were fun time bouncers. Like they always worked in places that were really chill and never had to deal with a lot of shit. Yeah. And I look at that, I'm like, you guys have no idea, man. Like No, it pisses me off kind of. I hate that because like I had such a short career before everything kind of like ramped up. Yeah. Oh, it was quick, man. And I was basically semi-retired because I got a job that I liked. I was like, I'm not going to work in the bar anymore. And then I started back at like the busiest bar in the city with the roughest people in the city. Dude, and when you first showed up, I guess I can't hesitate about anything anymore. No, not at all. I was working at a little kid's punk rock bar for the last year, and that didn't mean shit. When you first showed up and started working with us that first night, I remember like you were like I clearly remember when I walked up to you that first time, I'm like, hey buddy, what's going on? And we were calling you Tyler. Yeah. And you're like, I was like, call signs, what are those for? Yeah, but you had this like such a like big smile on your face, just be there. And then from the transition from you to where you are now, I feel like happened in 4 days. Yeah. Like I feel like from you being that happy-go-lucky dude who came in that first night
to being like, fuck the world. It was literally like
Oh,
the
man,
next shift, man.
Well, I know. It's funny because I feel more like that guy now.
Yeah, the happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because you're out.
It's funny. It's very funny. I do feel more like that again. Like, I remember what that feels like.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I think
It is a fun.
chunk
It is
of
nice.
It's just not working in the bar, I think. But
I think so. Being out for as long as you are, and like being away from it.
yeah, like it hasn't been that long, but I mean, it just feels good. Like it was like an instant transition. And honestly, man, I think a big part of that mushroom trip too was just like undoing a lot of like forced habits that I did for like fear.
Oh yeah, for sure, right?
Fear of survival, I think.
Once you kind of get away from that, like it's not going to kill you to change. Like once you realize that change won't kill me, you're so much better for it.
Totally, man.
Oh my god, it's so gross.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, let's talk about some like more fun stuff, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Like the things that aren't like disgustingly depressing. Stadia shut down.
I saw I watched the Winter Soldier Falcon trailer.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know, like, it probably will be a fun movie because there's some stuff that I was like, oh, sweet. Like, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but...
Yeah, I didn't... Well, I mean, it's just a trailer.
Well, you did see it?
I didn't, but I'll go see it. But, spoil away, man. Don't spoil... Well,
it's just that, like...
WandaVision. Don't do WandaVision.
He's carrying the Zemo mask in one of the scenes, and it's so, like, it doesn't seem inappropriate.
Yeah, no, I know. They got, like, Zemo's going to be in costume.
Yeah, but it doesn't look cheesy.
Really? That's awesome,
but
man.
in a good way. Like, I was worried that he was going to look a little too much, and no, man, they teased it properly, I thought.
Well, because, like, Zemo can be a lot.
Exactly, and he is a lot, but at least he's wearing more of, like, a cool-looking balaclava that would suit Zemo the way it would.
Oh, I get you. So it's not like the purple mask welded to his face type of thing.
Yeah, like, it is a purple mask, but I liked what they did. I'm like, cool. So there's that, but then they keep showing both of the dudes using the shield throughout the damn movie.
I don't mind that either.
I'm just like, well, are you going to give it to one of them, or are you just going to give it to...
Oh, my God.
Because I really think the one guy should get it, and I know that you're not going to do that because that's not how things work anymore, and I don't think it should matter.
No, man. I don't think Falcon having the shield to start off with is the worst thing, as long as it's not like he's instantaneously amazing.
It's not.
No, but I don't want him to be like, all of a sudden he gets a shield and he's just as good as Cap. It doesn't work like that.
Well, he's still just see, here's the problem, is he's still just a human. He has to wear a suit.
Yeah.
Throwing that fucking shield is probably not easy in general for anyone.
I can't imagine throwing a vibranium-based shield. It's going to be easy for anybody.
And then so Winter Soldier has an arm made of similar material, and it's almost like you could magnetize to it or something. Like,
well, you would
maybe
hope
they could make it. I was like, you know what, fan theory, how about it turns out that it's very similar to the way Thor's hammer works, but because it's older tech, it's more of a magnet field or something, or magnetic field.
Could be. Yeah, where he launches
it. It's like, oh, well, it's like meant for you, like you have the super arm who can throw a shield.
Well, or, it
you're
could be...
You're a super soldier already.
He's already a super soldier, but why not, is it just the kind of thing where you're good at throwing it, and because you've got the shield, it doesn't destroy you to catch it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's the thing. And, like, Falcon already has the suit, and he's Falcon. And, like,
yes.
I don't know.
I
don't want him to be Captain America.
I like how it's done in the comics. I like the fact that he's not Cap right after Cap. Like, there's a bunch of different Caps.
Bucky did Cap, and he did a different Cap, and I liked him as Cap.
Yeah, he was really unsure of himself. He didn't know how it was going to work out. He tried to give the costume away a bunch of times. He tried to give it to Hawkeye, and Hawkeye's like, no, it's you. Put it on. You put that thing on. And then when Falcon does get it, it's not because Bucky gives it up. Like, it's given to him the way it's passed down to Bucky. Like, it's just, it felt natural, right?
Like, maybe they should do it that way. Like, they should have a couple movies or a movie where Winter Soldier's really the guy with the shield, and they're like, because you know what I like about it is they're almost creating the buddy relationship that Cap and him actually had in the comics.
Yeah.
But with Winter Soldier and him, because Cap and Falcon in the movies, well, they're from two different generations, right? Like,
yeah, Cap and Falcon in the comics, they knew each other for a long time. Cap and Falcon in the movies
was way stronger. It passes through like even when you look at Earth X, right? Like, that's why. So to me, it's like it'd be cool if they created that type of.
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, nice.
Behind you.
Oh yeah, Earth X.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, so to create that with Winter Soldier, I think is a really cool idea because you're almost rewriting the universe, right? That relationship grows strong later, and then maybe that's what gives him the shield. Maybe Winter Soldier dies and he, takes it or some shit. I don't know.
Why?
Make it cooler. Don't just give it to him. Like, fuck, make there a reason.
I kind of feel like there's a relationship there that was brushed over. Like, I mean, you've got Cap and Bucky have been friends for 90 years.
Yeah.
They've got history. They've got like emotional bond. They've got this friendship that went from friends to brothers to villains to friends to brothers.
Yeah.
And he's known Falcon for like 6 months.
Yes.
And a lot of that, one of them was in jail. Like one of them was locked up, right?
Well, and then so that's why this movie is a good way to set the precedent for the buddy relationship between these two. But you don't need to assign the shield yet. I'm hoping that's what they're doing. I hope they're not actually assigning it to someone in this movie. It's more that just it's with the two of them. It shows some clips where it kind of does put some focus on that, I think.
Well, first it's a series.
Yeah.
And number two, they give
it's a TV show?
It's a show. Yeah, it's going to be a series.
I thought that was a trailer for a movie.
No, Falcon and Winter Soldier is like 8 episodes, something like that.
Oh shit! I thought it was a movie.
No, it's going to go for a while. It's going to be a season.
Okay, well then maybe that's the idea. Maybe they are going to stretch that out because I was like, one movie, you're not going to be able to cram all that type of information in there.
No, and then you've got U.S. Agent is a big part of it. They give him the shield first.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Who's U.S. Agent?
I can't remember, but when you see his face,
love U.S. Agent. I love that dude.
He's Punisher Cap.
He's just a piece of shit hired dude.
He's like a Frank Castle didn't have decent parents and then became Captain America. That's what he is. Yeah. He didn't.
Oh yeah, because he's doing it for money. He's like a corporatist, but like
he's assigned the role, and he doesn't really want to be that guy.
No, he's an office CIA dude that got stuck taking over the mantle or something.
Yeah, and he's got
the CIA.
He's got like
he wants to climb the ladder.
He's got a Lee Harvey Oswald name too, doesn't he? Like it's like he's got like Johnny Walker Red. He's got one of those weird names where he's got like three names.
Because he was part of that era where the Avengers had those bullshit flying cycles.
Yeah. The air riders, those things that are always the mini Quinjets.
Yes.
Yeah, he's from shit Avengers.
Terrible looking flying scooters that they ride like.
Oh, and that's when Cap did Nomad. Deep V.
Yes.
Yeah, he had the Deep V.
He was a construction worker with amnesia, wasn't he?
I think he had amnesia at some point, and I know he's a construction worker at some point, and then he was also Nomad.
Found him just working construction at that point. That's what I heard. I don't remember how far back. That was like very early 90s in Cap, I think.
Super early 90s. I think it's like we're talking like George Perez, like Ron Lim, that Tom DeFalco era of like weird
all
80s
the dudes were
stories.
Superhero V-shaped and like square jawed and
just like pecs
all the
for
chicks
days.
had huge jersey hair and big titties, and they wore like V bathing suits.
Oh, so gross. All the costumes back then were so gross.
It was amazing.
It was incredible. Yeah.
That's what all we're doing now. That's why everyone likes shows like The Boys and stuff like that, because they're just making fun of 90s superheroes. Like,
oh man, I haven't seen The Boys yet.
It's good. I like the comic better.
The comic is really good.
Yeah, it's just the way they write the story out. I don't understand why, but I don't really, it's whatever.
It's gonna be his own thing too, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. It's just some of the stuff they did. I was like, no, I think it should have been different. But
I don't mind that Simon Pegg gets to play like the father,
the dad
of the guy who he is in the comic.
So that's
so
awesome.
Kind of cool.
He probably is so happy that he got to do that.
Oh yeah, because it's clearly him in the comic. Like that's just it just is.
Dude, even Wizard did their casting call with Simon Pegg as that character.
Oh yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah, they did. Man. They picked Simon Pegg as him, and it was haha, we're kidding. Obviously, he knows that he's the guy this is based on.
For sure,
blah, blah, right?
Who did they pick as Butcher?
I don't remember. Fuck, I'd have to look. I just remember that being one of the main ones, because then when I read the comic, and then when I saw the show, it made sense. I would like to look, though, but it was cast pretty well. It's just back then when I was a kid, man. It's so funny, because that stuff all came out when I was reading comics, but I was just, only a mainstream comic guy. That's why I read comics. For
Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Not even as much DC either. I was very Marvel.
Yeah, you're a big Marvel guy.
Yeah, but yeah, it was funny to see, the indie comics, and now to look back and go, oh, man, I wasn't reading those at the time, but I didn't know if I should or not, because I'm just a kid, and it was funny to learn about them, but not only read them 10 or 15 years later.
Yeah, well, you had the benefit too of having this huge run of comics now. Mm-hmm. You can get into it. I remember the first indie comic that I think I really gave a lot of time to after I got through all like my Marvel and DC shit. I read a lot of indies as well, but again, I was reading like Invincible and superhero. I like Marvel or Image shit, right? But I got into Fables.
Oh, yeah.
Fables probably about like 20 issues before it ended. And Fables is incredible, man.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's
actually.
really
the
good.
Art is really nice. Like,
Yep.
Is it always different though? I didn't understand. Is it the same artist every time, or do they get signature people that come in and sometimes do work?
They have like generally, I think the same. If I remember right, they have the same basic 3 artists, but it's like there are like guest artists who come in, or the same single artists who from beginning to end. But then like some arcs are brought in and out. Like there are some people when the Jack
I've heard
story
it's
happens.
really good, yeah.
It's quite good. And then man, Russ Braun who did the art for like the most of the boys? I think is maybe the best art in a comic in years.
Yeah, I did really like it too. Like,
yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, man, and I don't know. I'm hoping they touch on some of the stuff from the comics because I feel like they skipped over some things that are really funny.
Really? Well, hold on.
And then they didn't. Well, like the the characters in the comics that I hope show up in the TV show. I hope they didn't skip over them, thinking, "Oh, well, it's not really relevant."
Yeah, we don't.
Because like they cover the X-Men and it's hilarious. Like,
oh yeah, their version of the X-Men is really good.
Yeah, it's a school for gifted boys.
Yeah, and they're all.
So it's really weird.
It's super gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super gross. I hope they hit Herogasm, because Herogasm is probably one of the best like moments in that comics run. When they have that convention, they're like, hey, they all go and talk about shit, but really it's just like all they do is show up and just bang the shit out of each other.
Oh, I know, and just like don't they bring in hookers and stuff too though? Like it's just it's a fucking fuck fest and there's drugs everywhere, and these hookers are like they have to take a certain drug. They have to take that drug so they can stand getting.
I think they snort it.
Superheroes.
Yeah, they snort it. They're all doing that drug, but they're snorting it.
V, like what is it called? V in the comics?
I think it's called V. Yeah. Like Serum V or whatever it is. Yeah.
What's that?
Serum V or something like Compound V. I think Compound V is what it's called. They take that and they're shooting it like they're snorting that shit off of each other's asses. And at one point, I think they killed a bunch of hookers. So they're like, whoa, give them the shit. It's like give them
it's like so call the company to come burn the building down.
Yeah. We're killing people here. No, it's a great comic, man. It is right up there with like, it's Hellboy, The Boys, Fables. Like there was this whole group of comics that was just so out there. It was just like awesome shit. Really good stuff. Hellboy is actually really good, surprisingly good. I never got into Hellboy until last year.
I know. I should have read it. I'm still consider reading it. What's funny is I didn't know Savage Dragon was a comic when I was watching the TV show.
Oh, no way.
Right.
Well, you know what? It was the same time.
Because the Tick and stuff all came out around the same time, right? Yeah. But I was like, what is this fucking crazy show, right? Like, and then I find out it's a comic about a savage half-man, half-lizard cop guy or whatever. Yeah.
Did you ever get deep into Savage Dragon?
No, I didn't. That was the thing. I just watched the cartoon as a kid, like, cool. And then years later, I found out it was an indie comic. And
oh man,
again, Wizard, man, that whole magazine provided me with so much information that I was just like
Wizard was phenomenal.
Wizard was so unfortunate to see how stuff like that just dwindles and dies. Like a magazine, I get the magazines are really pointless, but
he like Gareb Shamus, the publisher and owner and the guy who ran Wizard, he ripped a ton of people off at the end, huh?
Oh,
yeah, he took subscription money from he knew the place was gonna fold up, and he sold another pack of 3-year subscriptions to a shit ton of people, and took all their money and hit the road.
Yeah, see that's what I'm saying sucks is on top of the plate it just died, but the guy ended up being a piece of shit. Like man.
Unfortunate though, because it was good.
So much I learned from them, and now it's you don't have it's all available to you on the internet now, right? But
yeah, but there's that's true. But that was a dedicated indie trade. It was the newspaper for
it
comics.
Covered everything. And if there were stories I wasn't reading, I could still get updates on those stories, and that's all I needed. And
I'll tell you what I hate now is you'll go to, let's just say you go to Screen Rant, or you go to whatever it is, right? Or was GameSpot, whatever the one the news the article is.
The what have you, yeah.
The what have you. You've got people on there who don't have an editor, so they write whatever they want with shitty grammar, and they don't know what they're talking about. Because they're all doing Wikipedia research and all this stuff. So they'll give you this half-assed take on what Superman's death meant, or what the Hulk can do. Or, hey, did you know Daredevil was blind, but he can kind of see?
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. You got a lot of people that are, there's no one to hold them accountable for whether their information's accurate or not. And now, because so many people add to it, and it's like you can't really prove them wrong, but I know, and they're just not accountable to anybody.
They're not accountable, or they fake their way through knowing what they're talking about. Like I was watching
like
this
an actual editor. I feel like that those types of online places, like the editor is just the guy that makes sure you hand it in on time.
Exactly. No, you're right.
He doesn't read it or check anything over.
No, he wants a word count.
I need you to write this thing about Superman's gay.
I need you to why Superman's a gay icon.
I heard he was gay.
He had to write in a blue costume one time. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like someone told me he was gay last week. I didn't look into it. Write a story about it.
The one time he had feelings for Batman, but
yeah, they shared a moment, a glance, and then it was like that was it.
But you're right. It's like all they do is get told 500 words or 2,000 words, and Monday. I want it on Monday.
They get an email from a guy that says 500 words, Superman's gay, Friday. And it's like, okay. And then they sit there. They probably take a bunch of Adderall. They bang out a 500-word Adderall-infused essay about why Superman is gay, or the concept. Hands it in.
That's all writing right now. That's like you just described man. All internet writing. You
don't even meet the guy sending you the emails.
Oh.
You're in your office or your home office now.
It's not even
your Adderall.
You don't know what your editor looks like. You don't even know his name. It's just like Chris. It's like all of his things are signed. It's like
from Korea.
It's like six different people.
It's like next one. It's like Batman's a pedophile. Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. This is why Robin is damaged. Like God.
He's so dark now. We know why.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah, man. Adderall fueled blogs.
Oh my God, that's everything. It's anything you read. Did you ever watch that documentary Don't Speak? I think it was called Don't Speak, the Hulk Hogan trial. That what was that one company that pulled all that stuff about Hulk Hogan banging his buddy's wife?
What?
Yeah, the Hulk Hogan. I think it's called Nobody Speak. Nobody Speak is the name of the documentary. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
But it's the BuzzFeed article. I think it was a BuzzFeed article. The one that
about the sex tape he had?
Yeah, the tape with Bubba the Love Sponge. The whole thing, right? Because they're the ones that broke it.
Yeah, okay.
Was it BuzzFeed or anyway? If you're listening to this,
TRL or what is it?
TMZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? But the guy got sued by Peter Thiel. Like he was the one who backed Hulk Hogan in a lawsuit against his company. And then it was all about that. It's like where are you getting your information from? Who's writing your articles? Like what's happening here? And they were kind of like with no regard to if a guy is closeted or if a guy's got a private life or if a guy has whatever. They're just breaking news and saying, well, it's your right. It's our right to tell you. And it's your right to know. It's like, well, you're destroying people's livelihood or their lives. So one guy took it personally because they outed him. He's a billionaire, Peter Thiel. He backed Hulk Hogan's lawsuit and they sued them into bankruptcy. Now they're gone.
Oh, amazing. This was TMZ or a company like TMZ?
A company like that. It wasn't, I can't remember if it was BuzzFeed, but they were part of that whole group.
The thing with that is when you kill one, two more appear in its place.
It's the Hydra. It's Hydra, man.
You cannot kill this being.
Hail Hydra.
Yeah. Seriously, man. Like,
it's how it is.
If you kill TMZ, something else will pop up because half of them will go one way and the other half will pop the other way.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
God damn it.
God damn. You're creating like literary ISIS. They show up.
Yes. Yeah. It's like you create, by destroying what they had, you've created more threats.
Oh, yeah, for sure, right?
Just let this conglomerate them and let them feed out nonsense and we'll be fine.
That's what that company was doing. They were part of a whole conglomerate of different papers and shit. But they had no editors. That's all they did. They just wrote shit and it got them into trouble. And they got sued because some guy is like, I got a sex tape. He's like, I think it's him.
All you need to do is attack the person with the right amount of money and they can sue you, which is good. Like, I'm glad that they got sued, I guess.
In a way, yeah, because like, they were like willfully just not giving a shit.
Well,
I don't want to say ignorant.
That's something that surprises me is I learned recently over the summer a YouTuber that I watch. So a problem with a lot of these YouTuber guys is they are foolish enough to try and get involved with some of their fans that are like sometimes underage.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For
it's
sure.
Fucked
Chris
up.
D'Elia,
it's
man.
like, dude, you're a celebrity on YouTube to these people and you're accessible to them.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yep.
Like, even if they're like, and these guys are my age, right? Like, they're not freaking 22. They're full-grown adults.
They're grown
and their
men.
fans, unfortunately, are like, they know better, yeah. And their fans are really young. But I was like, okay, well, that's fair. I didn't know. I kind of got that. It's weird. I always got that impression from him.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, God, I think he's like a weirdo. Like,
oh, dude,
like
for
something
sure.
ain't right. But then the other guy that got busted is just a total outright piece of shit. Like, you don't want to throw grooming at him, throw all that at him, fine. I understand that. But the other guy, he kind of got lumped in with him, and I didn't know. And then I watched a random YouTube video about what was going on. They brought up the first guy, who I was more of a fan of.
Yeah.
He apparently, half of it was what happened is he got catfished by someone into sending photos to them.
Oh, wow.
And they publicly exposed the photos he took of him and his wife and this other shit.
Oh, brutal.
And he got deemed as like hitting on underage people, but in the end it was just that he was cheating on his wife not cheating, but almost cheating on his wife.
I mean, he was
not hitting on 16-year-olds. He
was
was
being
just
greasy.
Involved in a similar scandal.
Yeah.
But someone tricked him into sending the photos, not thinking they would publicize them.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So he got his whole career ruined over it, and I didn't know, and I was like, oh, no. And it's like, dude, unfortunately, you took the chance in sending those photos.
Don't send dick pics, man.
Oh, way worse, too.
Yeah.
Like, way weirder shit. But when I heard about what it was, I'm like, now I feel like that's the kind of thing he'd do.
Okay, well, this is obviously his news now. So
yeah.
Well,
it's in whatever YouTube news. He wasn't that big of a celebrity, but the problem is the other guy was.
What
and the other guy was the worst piece of shit who was caught.
What did he send?
What?
What did he send? Like it was
what did he say?
What? No, you said it was way worse than a dick pic.
Oh, well, dude, there was like photos of him and his wife having sex.
Oh, so yeah, that's
didn't know they were being sent. There was photos of him doing stuff to himself.
Yeah. See, don't do that shit.
No, and they requested them.
Yeah, don't do that shit.
Yeah, so he fucked up. A1, he fucked up. But like, you took the chance, man. But
for
at
sure.
least the problem is he's pegged as like now he's fucked because he's hitting on his fans and he's a creep and he's a 16-year-old molester and he's not. He's just an idiot.
I mean, at the very least, you're a creepy idiot now. Like, I mean, you probably had a fan fall. Like, look at Louis C.K. Louis C.K. didn't really do anything that was like rapey.
Man, the stand-up comedy about what he did is so great.
It's really
to
good.
This day, I laugh at the way people make fun of how they sound like they're trivializing what he did.
Well, no, but what he did makes him like the creepiest idiot. You are now the king of the creepy idiots.
Yeah, because you politely ask if you can masturbate like on the other end of the phone or like in these weird areas.
Man, let me tell you something. I was I like Mark Maron, his podcast and shit. I'm a big fan of like what he does. WTF. He had Louis C.K. on a while ago, like before any of this shit broke. And it was a day when I was like, I think there's something wrong with him. Mark Maron was talking about how he would go to C.K.'s apartment when they kind of knew each other. They were getting to become friends. But like Mark Maron was still like, I think he doesn't like me. Like, I think there's something wrong with this guy. Because one day, C.K. had dropped a bottle of ketchup on the floor on like Monday. So Mark Maron goes over. He's like, yeah, you dropped some ketchup. He's like, yeah. He's like, okay. And like Friday, it's still there. Like on Friday, he goes to see him again. He's like, what are you doing, man? He's like, I kind of want to see what happens. He's like, what are you talking about, man? Yeah. Like, that's the weird shit that goes on in his head. I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with the guy.
Well,
like,
yeah. And like, I mean, from what I've heard about him, making a comeback and just being like, look, I'm totally sorry that I did all that shit. And he wants to be a comedian again. It's like, man, I don't know. Like, I don't blame him. I don't think he deserves to be totally written off. He's not Harvey Weinstein.
No, you're right.
He's not.
Yeah,
He's not freaking Jeffrey Epstein. He's not, like, fuck those guys.
For sure. I mean, he's a creepy idiot.
He's fucking stupid, apparently. Or whatever the hell that was.
He's entitled, and, he's got his head up his ass, and he's a creepy idiot. But, like, he didn't like, grab some broad and shove her into a bathroom while he's wearing his bathrobe and bring out his hairy belly and then try to, like, have his way with her. Yeah.
He's like like a creepy idiot.
Yeah.
Hey, can I just finish myself off over the phone here while we chat?
So weird.
Okay.
Now, the one thing I do think is like what makes him on the upper echelon of creepy idiots is the kind of thing that he did to Pete Davidson and the kind of shit that he did to those girls when they wanted to like further their career. Like he kind of blacklisted them. Yeah, Pete Davidson was like at SNL. He'd send one of his specials. He's just like walking around doing his thing, being Pete Davidson, and he's kind of fucked in the head, but he's like open about it. Like he's got mental problems and PTSD and all that kind of crap.
Okay.
And then so he smokes a lot of weed. And I guess like Louis C.K. singled him out in front of all these other people who were like, learning from the feet of Louis in the hallway. And he's like, look at that fucking idiot. All he does is smoke pot all day. Like, what a loser. And like, he was really like trying to point out how he's wasting his life away. And Davidson's like, look, man, like, I'm just trying to get my shit together. I show up for work like everybody else. I smoke some weed. I'm not. It doesn't interfere in my life. I'm just trying to get my shit together and be a funny guy.
Also, I mean, was that at the point, maybe a similar point where I think he admits now, or other people said that he was just like when he was at a real low point and he was awful to everyone.
I think that's probably something. That's probably got a part of it.
See a guy like that and be like, "Fuck him," because he's younger than me. He's better. He's in better shape. He's got more going for him.
For sure.
You know, like just being a bitter piece of shit because you're depressed or something, and you have celebrity, so you're using it to be evil.
I think that's what it is. I think he uses celebrity to be like shitty towards people, and he did definitely like. There are people who say that he called me and told me not to hire the girls who he jerked off in front of. So,
right. So he was really becoming just that I hate myself kind of person.
I think so. I think that's what makes him like he's not a rapist, but he's on the upper echelon of creepy idiot. Yeah.
But like he hates himself, so he's like, well, if I didn't have the power I have now, I wouldn't be able to do that, so I'm gonna do it.
Exactly.
Like you became a really dark person, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, for sure. It kind of like makes me think about times like this is something I talk with Raj a lot. Well, not a lot, but we've talked a few times about it. Like we've never knowing who I am and knowing who he is and knowing who you are and most of the people who we hang around with, like we've never let somebody talk to us like that. Like if somebody said that to you in a hallway, it's like you tell him to shut his mouth, he's gonna get smacked.
Well,
like,
that's another thing is like I understand that he's almost got that ability to like I could ruin your career if you fight back.
Yeah.
But that's when you should do it because it's like it's not worth your career to allow anybody to do that to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you will try. You know what? That was if he decked him and was like fuck that guy and it set him back a few years.
Yep. Fair, so be it, man.
But those are the potholes, man.
That's also a great Hollywood story.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing is you're like, he kind of fell out of the scene for a couple of years after that, but he's one of the few people to stand up to somebody like that at SNL of all places.
Oh, too, for sure, right? And today, like with the internet being what it is, it's so much easier to make your career online. I mean, look at
and make your career out of that.
Yeah, too. Brian Callen had that whole shit go down. He's got his show on Patreon. He's doing just fine. He's doing all right.
Well, exactly, right? Like, and that's what I love hearing that too, and how just people end up benefiting from walking away.
Yep.
People that have benefited, more people in the current years, I guess, probably have benefited from avoiding or walking away than ones that have stuck in it to like survive and scrape for the new spot. You know, like
for sure.
Even look at like the way late night is transitioning into a dinosaur. You know.
Oh man, I mean, COVID really like lifted the veil
on
how bad late night TV is.
Bless COVID's heart for showing us how shitty some of the shitty stuff in our lives are.
Man, if it wasn't Craig Ferguson or David Letterman, I like Conan's pretty good, but that's it.
And Conan, but Conan's now he's
done.
He can't retire now because he didn't get originally what he wanted and he had to make it his own way, and now he's just proven a point.
Dude, he's leaving TBS in summer.
Oh, finally?
Yep, he's got a deal with HBO Max. He's gonna do a variety show on HBO.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, but like, have you seen the variety stuff he does?
No, I'm sure it's great. It's just like, man, just get out of that shit. Just get away.
It's what he's been doing is like the Conan Abroad. So he goes to like other countries and he.
Yeah, I remember when he started doing it. It was awesome. Yeah. I just lost track of all of it. Right.
Yeah, so he'll do that kind of stuff now. Like he's gonna do a lot more of like Bourdain.
Tour it. Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna be like a new Bourdain.
Oh,
which is like, I think it's right up his alley, man. He's funny, he's intelligent, so he's got this thing, and he's personable, right? People like him, so I think he could pull that off. But yeah, like thank COVID's heart for
showing us the true colors of how shitty that Hollywood shit can be, and how there's so many better alternatives to what's there.
So many, dude. I think we did a whole chunk of stuff here. We hit a lot of stuff. I think so. I think we're in.
Sweet.
I think let's see what we did here. Yeah, we're not going over, but like, we don't really have a time limit, but
No, but I mean, I do kind of, I got to get ready for my 4 a.m. stuff.
Yeah, you're fine. Whatever, man. I'll leave it there.
No, I just mean like, I got to get back to work starting next week. It's like, or starting tomorrow. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, man. I hear you. We're finally back to it. We're finally back to doing what we're doing. I'm going to start booking some clients soon too. So I hear you. Nice. I know it's like, but I
just want I don't know. It's the routine. It's honestly just the morning routine that like, I started it at a good stride.
Yeah.
But now but basically it's like I took a month and a half off of what I was doing and then came back in worse temperatures instead of gradually working my way into this temperature. So now it's like,
I feel you,
I feel like now, I don't deserve this, but I feel like it's something that's like, let's see what you can go through. Let's see what we can throw at you and what you'll put up with.
I don't have it coming, but nature is testing me.
I'm dead serious. I'm like, this is the most appropriate setting for the situation, is that I didn't get to gradually work into it. I had to get like pulled out of it.
Oh man, we were
soft again.
Like all that time. Yeah, make malleable. All that time we were at home. It was nice and there was no snow and the temperature was good.
So I'm like, I deserve this.
I got this coming.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm like, this is mine to hold.
No, like I always say, right? It's like when you travel in a shitty country and you come out of it better. You're like I did it.
I'm like, I got the clothes and shit. It's going to be fucking weird. And I'm super curious more than anything.
See how this goes.
I thought about documenting it for the first little while. Like, just as soon as I get outside, I do a quick Instagram story. Like, it's 5 a.m. It's minus 46.
That's a good idea.
I'm going to work, but it's like, to hold my phone up, I'm already bundled in my spacesuit.
No, that's good.
I got
That's all good. That's good.
I know, but I just mean it'd be more annoying just to pull my phone out for 3 seconds when I just want to get moving.
Oh my god, right? And especially with we're looking at minus 41 on Monday.
I know, it's fucked.
Bearskin in the air.
I'm not scared of that. I'm dressed. I have awesome clothes. If anything, I'll sweat less. Thank Christ.
Oh yeah, for sure,
I get to
right?
work and I'm soaked, man. Like, I'm just drenched
at work
every morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crazy workout. It's like a crazy 2-mile bike ride. Like.
Oh, you're gonna do it by bike?
Yeah.
In the snow.
That's what I've been doing until this.
I didn't know that.
Cycling until the fucking lockdown happened. I was cycling.
Oh, get out of town! I didn't know that. I had no. I thought you were getting ready a 4 a.m. bus.
Unfortunately, since this fucking lockdown, I was riding my bike since June every day.
Oh, get out!
From work. 4 miles a day now.
I had no idea. I thought you had like a hike to get to the bus and then a hike to get to work. Good grief!
I thought about walking every once in a while just to see what it's like, because it's only 2 miles.
Yeah. It's not that far.
But I've been cycling, and it's like, it's crazy exercise, right?
Fucking crazy, man. Well, that's pretty awesome. That's not bad at all. Yeah. That's really cool.
So that's why I'm doing it, because I wanted to see if I could. I want to see, like, I want the summer to come around and be like, man, I fucking did that. Like,
that's awesome, man. Oh, yeah, that is a test, buddy. That's way worse. I was under the impression that you were gonna do this like hard, like, walk.
No,
you're doing
I've been
bike ride
since before. Now I'm just pissed off that I should have. I had the opportunity to transition into this weather, right?
Oh yeah. And you didn't.
But now I don't.
And now you don't.
Like, I don't deserve this, but it's like a test. It's no, we're not going to let you get ready for this.
Oh, that is rad, man. That's a real test. That's legit. Hey, did you talk to any of our cycling friends before you got into it, or like was it one of those things you just went ahead and did?
I needed. Well, last summer when I started, I was like, I need to ride to work, so I got a bike.
Yeah.
And started cycling, and I totally broke it because I rode the piss out of it somehow. And then I bought another one. I don't know, man. I broke the pedals right off it. So seriously, I must have been old and ready to go. But
and the pedals flew off.
Yeah, seriously, they blew off when I was pedaling one day.
Holy shit, that's scary.
The internal pieces broke apart and it just flew off.
Well, that's terrifying.
But I don't carry it home. But anyway, I bought a new bike that day, and then I've been riding this bike, but this bike is not winterized, so I've had to put a studded tire on it, and I gotta clean it like regularly and shit. So
yeah. Well, that's good that you're taking
care of it. Brakes out, but right now I just don't think it's worth it. But they're shit, right? Like,
they're not designed for it. We have a friend, a mutual friend, a guy we work with, who's a bike guy. But then I've got another guy who is a huge winter rider.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll connect it to him when we're done here, and then he's awesome for Q&A. I think he's great for cheap ass parts as well. Like, he's the kind of guy who can direct you.
I had to buy new pedals, so I needed them anyway. So I bought some off of this site called Pink Bike, which is really good. It's just like a cyclist's buy and sell.
Yeah.
I got them from Calgary, and they're like $120 pedals that are slightly used. I got them for $50. Like, no one's trying to make money on there. They're just reselling products.
It's a good community.
Yeah. And then the tire I got from a guy for free from the gym. A client of the gym is like, yeah, I actually have an old studded tire that'll fit on that.
Oh, right on.
Just have it.
That's awesome.
I know, and this is the thing. People are like, you're going to do it? You're going to commute? Like, they're like, I'm so happy for you. Like, people who also do it, they're crazy about it.
Dude, no, I'm super jazzed. I'm not even a cyclist. I think that's really cool.
Well, I like the idea of being a commuter, but like, I don't... People are like, do you want to go for a bike ride? I'm like, no.
No, you psychopath.
I don't want to ever ride my bike unless I have to.
Well, it's like what we talked about last week, right? Like, volunteer work. Like, I'm never going to volunteer for anybody, but
If you make me volunteer, I'll go do it.
Yeah, but like, I'm not going to actually get off my ass and go and do it. Like, I mean, yeah.
No, like, seriously, that's it, man. I have another friend that loves cycling. He's like, oh, we should go for rides. I'm like, yeah, I'm mostly going to say no, but maybe I'll say yes.
I'm 99% of the time going to be like, no, I'm good.
Well, I know, but dude, I just wish I could, for me, 4 miles a day, that's lots.
Yeah, man. That's a lot of riding.
5 days a week, that's all I need, you know? And that's lots of exercise. My recovery is better from it. Man, my physical recovery.
It's something. But like Raj, Backside Attack here, other host of our show, he does like friggin' 30K, like almost every other day.
I know. He said, yeah, he does, and he has like a couple hiking groups or something, or he has friends with in groups that he does that with.
He does a couple pretty outdoorsy stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
like, cool. I mean, he's not the kind of guy to...
He would like that whole coming with us for the hike.
Yeah, no, oh man.
That was another reason why I was like, he should come with us for that for sure. A, because he likes that stuff.
I'm already like stockpiling the Jeep to get like stuff in there. I've got a little a mattress and things I'm making the back with. I've got window covers all set to go. Like, I'm so excited to do more of that this year.
Totally, that's fun.
I'm wicked down for some
summer too.
Camping and shit.
And I went to Lavani. Like, that guy loves to go all the time, and I never went enough of them, so I'm trying to make a point of going more now.
Yeah, man, for sure. We have to do like way more of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Because like it's this like, you know, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna sit around here and like, you know, play a Nintendo?
Well, and even then, I like the idea that I could do both on a Saturday if I had it off. I could get up at a decent time and do a hike and get home by like 2 in the afternoon.
Yep.
And then I got the afternoon to chill out and maybe play some video games, or you know, and like that's what I mean.
Exactly.
You can make a full day out of it. Like,
yep. For sure. You don't need to sacrifice one for the other.
You know?
Huh?
It's just not that inconvenient. You make it out to be so inconvenient to yourself.
That's what it is. We make excuses to why we can't do it. And really, like, you know, we should be thinking like a 10-year-old. It's like, I'm going to go play my friends in the daytime. I'm going to run around the park. I'm going to come home and play some video games.
I'm going to ride my bike.
I'm going to ride my bike. It's like, you can do all that stuff, man. You can still do it all. You just got to make time for it and stop making excuses. Huh. Okay, cool. I think that's a good place to, there you go. No excuses.
What?
I said that's a good place to go. No excuses.
No,
that's it. Music's probably gonna go on for a while. I'm probably slowly gonna fade out, but like, Handsome Dan, thanks for being back again this week, man. So we got a good thing going on here.
Oh, we will. I think we're occasionally trying to get back into D&D again. So it might be every other Sunday.
Not too shabby. That's fine.
So I'll just find out when they want to schedule them, and I'll know. It's like, okay, if we're playing next Sunday, I'm out for the podcast, and then I'll be back in the Sunday after.
Well, this is like the nice thing about the way we're doing it now is we're not fixed into having to sit here on a Sunday and do it.
And the same thing with D&D, right?
Yeah.
Is we're gonna do Roll20 and use Zoom and stuff and whatever.
Oh, that's right. It's all like Zoom based. Yeah.
Because there's just no point in trying to get people together right now. It's fun to do something once a month, but.
You know what would be fun is if you guys had your Zoom going on one way for you just playing your game. And we'll do our show here. You can keep playing your game, and every now and then just chime in.
I honestly, that'd be I'd have a lot of fucking shit going on. I got 2 streaming things going on at once.
What am I, Max Headroom? What the hell?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I even have the brain power to understand how to make that work. But
oh, that's great. That's awesome, man. We're already fading out.
I actually thought about it. I was like, what would it matter if I'm just like